subscribe, like the video, and, if possible, join Patreon. But if you don't have much money, you can support the channel by watching the novels on euroaudiobooks.com. Remember that you can participate in the polls so that your favorite novel gets published for free.
Synopsis, small niche article, the only one left by Faloo. Hunter x Hunter new book, begging for all the data. Thank you. Liku was reborn on Whale Island and obtained the plundering entry system, constantly plundering entries, stacking, synthesizing, and promotion, starting from the fish shop owner of Whale Island. He killed countless fish for a full 10 years. Power, white, accumulated 100,000 times, promoted to God-killing power, black. Weak poison, white, accumulated 100,000 times, promoted to poison of disaster, black. Weak point, white, accumulated 100,000 times, promoted to thunder of destruction, black. When Liku left Whale Island and stepped into the hunter arena. Hisoka, I admit that ripe fruits are sometimes fatal. Netero, we old guys have been eliminated by this era. The dying Ant King. You should have used all your strength, right? Liku, the world's strongest. The 6 major telekinesis powers are full. The strongest man in the world embedded. Chapter 1. No one asked about the fish shop for 10 years. Whale Island. Where the dream begins. The sun is warm. White seagulls are circling in the sky, and a beautiful rainbow appears on the deep blue sea in the distance. Brother Liku, I'll trouble you with these fish. Uncle Cohen, wearing a one-piece waterproof overalls, put a bag of fish on the chopping board and grinned. Put it here. I'll take care of it later, Uncle Cohen. The owner of this fish shop, Liku, with short black hair and healthy wheat-colored skin, said with a smile. He is 1.75 meters tall, with muscles full of lines like a cheetah, and a handsome face with sharp edges like a reader. No one can associate this handsome guy in front of him with the skinny kid who ate and wore clothes from 100 families 15 years ago and was even thought to not survive the first winter. Liku has not only grown up, but also looks handsome, tall, and strong. Many young girls have a crush on him, but who can know Liku's troubles? He is a time traveler. He has been here for 15 years, starting from a baby who was almost frozen to death, and has grown up step by step. Now, he is the most famous and best fish shop on Whale Island. Nothing else. Liku has been killing fish for 10 years. He has been working in the fish shop since he was 5 years old, until the owner of this fishing port died and inherited the fish shop to him. The reason for this choice is that he also traveled through time with an infinite item looting system. It can be regarded as a blessing for reading genuine novels in the previous life. As the name suggests, any target killed by Liku can be randomly looted before the body is cold. Killing people. Liku has not tried it yet, and he has no plans to do so for the time being. So, he killed fish for 10 years. Splash. All the fish sent by Uncle Cohen were poured into the fish pond, and they were alive and kicking. But there was a different charm in Liku's eyes. Name, tuna entries, frenzy, white, power, white, swiftness, green, underwater breathing, green. Name, clownfish entries, lethargy, white, toxin, white, underwater breathing, white. Name, grouper entries, greedy, white, camouflage, white, power, white, underwater breathing, green. Killing fish is the easiest and fastest way to get entries on Whale Island. This is life. Liku has been doing this for 10 years. He skillfully scooped up a fish from the fish pond with a net bag and threw it on the chopping board. Bang knocked it unconscious with a stick. Then he cut them one by one. You killed a tuna, and the entry was automatically looted. Congratulations on getting power, white. You killed a grouper, and the entry was automatically looted. Congratulations on getting camouflage, white. You killed a clownfish, and the entry was automatically looted. Congratulations on getting sleepiness, white. Toxin, white. Since you already have great power, purple, you will automatically absorb and fuse it. Great power, purple, 92%. Since you already have underwater breathing, gold, you will automatically absorb and fuse it. Underwater breathing, gold, 22%. Since you already have toxic, purple, you will automatically absorb and fuse it. Toxic, purple, 11%. A series of sounds like the sound of nature rang in Liku's ears. This is the fun of killing fish. After killing fish for 10 years, Limu even forgot how many fish he had killed. The reason why he has such a strong body today is precisely because of the blessing of these entries. But now, the effect of these common fish on Whale Island on Limu's item progress is already quite weak. Now his fish-killing skills have been perfected. He is also a well-known and well-liked fish shop owner in the whole Whale Island. Items with negative effects on you are detected. Sleepy, manic. Do you refuse to absorb this item? Reject. Some of the items on these fish are negative, and occasionally they will be randomly plundered. But the system will directly help Liku identify them, and he can choose not to absorb them. Otherwise, after 10 years, Liku will be full of various debuffs. Liku, come quickly. Good news. Suddenly, Uncle Cohen ran over with an excited look on his face. Uncle Cohen, your fish is ready. Do you want to take it away now? Don't worry about the fish. Today, Gon caught the Swamp King. The whole Whale Island is in an uproar. This thing was caught by Jean 10 years ago. Come and watch the fun. By the way, bring your knife. You'll be needed to kill the fish when the time comes. Everyone is waiting for you. Uncle Cohen grabbed Liku and pulled him towards the Whale Island Square. The only remaining Book Hunter X Hunter in the end of the Flying Age Niche Article Chapter 2. Longevity Seed, Gold Whale Square. A large group of residents surrounded the area, and everyone's face was filled with surprise and shock. Wow, it's amazing. I didn't expect that after 10 years, someone really caught this strange fish. I remember that it was Jean who caught it, but Jean is a hunter. Even if 5 adults work together, they can't catch this swamp fish. But I heard that Gon wants to take the hunter test, but Mito doesn't want him to go. Who said it wasn't? Although Hunter has good treatment, it's too dangerous. It's better to live on Whale Island. Aunt Mito, I have caught the Swamp King as agreed. Aunt, you have to keep your promise too. Gon, a naive and romantic boy with a scion hairstyle, was extremely excited and took out the wrinkled hunter test application form in his pocket. His dream since childhood was to become a professional hunter and follow his father's old path. Find his father. He wanted to know why the profession of professional hunter attracted his father so much. Aunt Mito, with orange short hair, red top, and white skirt, stood there with her fingers clasped together, biting her red lips gently. Her pretty face was full of struggle. She made this promise because she thought Gon couldn't catch the Swamp King. How could she let Gon follow Jin's old path? Hunter is not a good profession, but she understood. The child's eyes were the same as his father's. Once he was determined to do something, there was no way he could be stopped. Brother Ko, you're here. Please help me deal with this Swamp King. I plan to use it to entertain uncles, aunts, and partners from our entire island. Gon saw Liku in the crowd and said excitedly. He had already made plans to leave Whale Island, and this was also his farewell banquet for himself. Liku walked out of the crowd. His eyes fell on the Swamp King on the ground, and even though he had killed fish for 10 years, he couldn't help but his heart beating wildly. Name: Strange Fish King of the Swamp Entries. Longevity, Gold. Super Strength, Gold. Scale Defense, Purple. Healing, Purple. Underwater Breathing, Purple. This should be the coolest fish in the entire Whale Island. No other. How success or failure depends on this one move. I hope there will be some good entries. Liku took a deep breath and picked up his sharp and narrow fish-killing knife. The residents next to him immediately made way. Everyone's eyes fell on the king of the swamp at the same time. The dark scales like steel shone brightly in the sun. The owner of an ordinary fish shop might not be able to break the defense of this thing, but Liku's eyes were restrained at this time, and the fish-killing knife in his hand fell at a lightning speed. Crack! It cut into a piece of scales on the gills of the strange fish lightly. Sure enough, the defense of this thing is not much different from that of an ordinary iron block. But as a professional fish butcher, he is as skilled as a butcher. The fish killed by Liku can definitely be piled up into a mountain. In addition, he also has amazing strength. You can only see that the muscular arms full of power suddenly exert force. The sharp blade avoided the hard bones and scales of the monster and easily penetrated into its soft spot. Then a perfect line was drawn. The whole strange fish was directly disintegrated. This scene made the nearby residents applaud and marvel. In terms of killing fish, Liku is the undisputed number one, but the vitality of the strange fish is surprisingly strong. After being cut into two pieces by Liku, there was no sound of settlement from the system until he forcibly dismembered this guy into pieces of meat. The settlement sound came slowly. Ding! Congratulations on killing the strange fish Swamp King. Automatically plunder super strength gold. You already have giant strength purple, which automatically merges into super strength gold, 74%. Automatically plunder the term longevity species gold. Lifespan can be up to more than 400 years. Automatically plunder the term healing purple. You have a stronger vitality. Ordinary wounds can heal quickly and automatically, and fatal injuries can also be resisted with vitality. This is definitely super exciting news. Accompanied by these sounds, Lika clearly felt that a warm current that could not be described in words was madly rushing into his limbs and bones. Every cell seemed to have received a brand new wash. Host, Liku entries. Longevity, gold. Super strength, gold. Toxic, gold. Super durability, gold. Quick, gold. Underwater breathing, gold. Healing, purple. Disguise, purple. Strength and defense, purple. Super fertility, blue. Incredibly gorgeous personal panel. Longevity, gold. Guaranteed lifespan of 400 years. This means that Liku truly has the capital to step into the pinnacle of this world. You should know that the president of the association, who is known as the strongest in the world, has a lifespan of only about 200 years. For 100 years, it is enough for him to find more longevity entries to stack and synthesize. Giant strength, purple transformed into super strength gold. Lika clearly felt the strengthening of his physique. The same entry has completely different effects on different life units. Ant plus giant strength and elephant plus giant strength are completely different concepts. The reason why the Swamp King is so powerful is purely because this guy has a long lifespan and has grown up. To put it bluntly, it still belongs to the fish species. But Liku is different. He is a human. The improvement effect given by super strength, gold, is a percentage and basic super amplitude improvement. Now he can even lift the body of this monster with one hand. But this matter is too horrifying. Liku does not plan to do so for the time being. Healing purple. Liku is not sure about the healing effect, but the system has marked that it can even resist fatal injuries. This thing is definitely worthy of its rating. So far, the ranking of entries that Liku has seen is white, green, blue, purple, gold. Going up. Sorry, he has not yet merged to such a high level. Maybe there will be gods or even super gods, but the number of fusions required is estimated to be very amazing. A single whale island can no longer satisfy Liku's appetite. He understands. It's time for him to choose to leave as well. Seeing that Liku has completed the division of the strange fish, everyone in the square cheered excitedly. Many residents who had come over began to cook. Mito, who was not far away, was worried. Aunt Mito, Gon has grown up, let him go. Besides, I am leaving Whale Island. I am very grateful to Aunt Mito and everyone for taking care of me over the years. I will take good care of Gon. After solving the strange fish, Liku walked towards Mito and said seriously, it's not that he wants to be a nanny, but when he crossed over, it was Mito who picked him up from the sea and raised him together. This is a life-saving favor. It's hard for Liku to repay. On the first day of the new book, I beg for all the data. Chapter 3 Fiery Eyes read. Liku, really? Then, I really need you. Aunt Mito's eyes moistened. In the wrestling competition on the island last year, Liku won the championship. Liku, who is young, handsome, skilled, and powerful, is the Prince Charming in the hearts of countless girls on Whale Island. If he can help, I will feel much more at ease. But becoming a hunter is very dangerous. Liku, have you really thought about it? Of course, I have been waiting for this day for a long time. Aunt Mito, thank you for your care over the years. Liku smiled. Whale Island is a paradise. But in this hunter world full of strong people, if I choose to eat and wait for death with the system, it would be better not to cross. What's more, the monsters in this copy of Whale Island have almost been cleared by myself, and there is not much meaning in brushing them. Brush the 400 years of East China Sea turtles? Become stronger. That is a man's ambition. The bonfire party was unprecedentedly enthusiastic. Everyone sang and danced together, and many young girls on the island took out their gifts for Liku. They were scarves, gloves, etc. Very thoughtful things. So many that he couldn't accept them all. 15-year-old Liku was the dream of these girls. But dreams must sail away after all. Brother Liku, when you become a professional hunter, will you return to Whale Island? I will miss you. Liku, you must take care of yourself. Woo 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 woo. We clearly agreed to go fishing together this summer. Boss Ku. Xiao Ku. When you come back, I will let my daughter marry you, okay? Ha ha ha. It was Gon who proposed to take the hunter test, but Liku became the protagonist at this time. He was too popular on the island. Whether it was the elderly, children, or girls, they all had a very good impression of him. In addition, he was often willing to help. So many people were reluctant to let Liku go. Of course, Gon also had many people see him off. The entire Whale Island was a truly warm place, without too much intrigue. The ship for the hunter test arrived as scheduled. All the residents of Whale Island stood at the dock to bid farewell to Liku and Gon. Boss Ku, have a safe trip. Gon, be safe. Everyone, be sure to come back again. We will miss you. On the dock, Uncle Cohen, Aunt Mito, and everyone else waved their hands and called out loudly. Under the sun, Whale Island was getting farther and farther away, and finally disappeared. Mira, I will definitely become the world's #1 hunter. I will definitely come back when I become an outstanding hunter. I will definitely come back. Gon waved and shouted loudly, his eyes moist. This was the first time he was so far away from home, but he had already decided that his dream was far away, so he would not look back. What's more, he had Brother Ko with him, so he was not alone. The world's #1 hunter. You underestimate hunter too much. It's a hunter test. Millions of experts gather from all over the world every year, but only a few are selected. Don't brag, little brother. Gon's words quickly attracted the contempt of other people on the ship who were taking the hunter test. Liku glanced over. Name, Yamada items. One-handed sword skills, white. Theft, white. Kidney deficiency, white name. Dashyang items. Power, white. Dual sword flow, white. Weakness, green name. Iwado items. Firearm, green. Poisoning, white. They are all a bunch of noobs. And they come with debuffs. Liku was not interested at all. It's not even as powerful as the entry of a medium-sized fish. No wonder the people on this boat didn't even make it to the audition. But the two guys in the corner made Liku's eyes light up. Name, Leorio Peridonite entries. Love, gold. Medical talent, gold. Bargaining master, purple. Leader, blue. Melee combat, blue name. Karapika entries. Fire red eyes, red. Avenger, gold. Leader, purple. Purple, a red entry appeared. Fire red eyes, red. Is it an entry above gold? As expected of Karapika, she is at her peak when she appears and can kill members of the brigade alone. It's worth the trip. Kill Karapika here? Forget it. Liku is not so crazy, and he can't be sure whether he can plunder entries after killing people. At least, there is no plan for this now. As if noticing Liku's gaze, Karapika raised his head slightly and looked at him, frowning slightly. Liku nodded gently. What are you doing? Kezio, how can a guy like you be a crew member? A scolding came from the cabin in front. A thin man in a short-sleeved sailor suit was kicked out, and the box of green apples he was holding rolled to the ground. Several rolled to the feet of Liku and the others. What a fool. You can't even stand steadily. Ha ha. Get off the boat early, you useless guy. Several old sailors laughed at him wantonly. Sorry, the thin rookie sailor named Kezio apologized while picking up the green apples on the ground. Just when he was about to pick up the last one, another hand picked it up and handed it to him. It was Liku. Thank you. The rookie sailor Kezio hurriedly thanked him. It's okay, Liku said lightly. He glanced at the old sailors. All of them were blank. It was boring. The old sailors didn't care when they saw that it was two little kids. They had been responsible for transporting candidates for many times, so they didn't care. Hey, you guys don't slack off. Hurry up and work. Just when they were very likely to be beaten, the cabin door was opened. The captain, who was drunk, had a red nose, and was short and bloated, came out to blame himself. He was holding a wine jug in his hand. Several sailors ran away immediately. These guys are getting more and more unruly, but don't mind, they are not bad. Do you want some wine? The captain with red nose handed over the wine jug. Thank you, I don't drink. Liku smiled and couldn't help but look at the captain more. This old man has navigation, blue, wine tasting, blue, knowing people, green, which are good life skills. Very good young man. You should be the one who has the best chance of passing the assessment that I have seen this year. Captain Rosacea suddenly smiled and said to Liku, Is it so accurate? Captain, what about me? What about me? Gon was very curious. You are also very good, but you have to work harder than this little family. Captain Rosacea smiled. Suddenly, birds chirped in the sky, and a large number of seagulls circled above the ship. A storm is coming. Liku took a deep breath and said calmly, 15 years of life on Whale Island has given him the survival ability of a top navigator. Chapter 4. Liku versus Kurapika. How did you know? The captain with rosacea was stunned. The air pressure has dropped. There's a low-pressure cyclone in the distance, and the humidity has increased. This is a sign of a storm. This storm will be very fierce. Liku said calmly. Brother Ku's judgment on storms has never been wrong. A storm is really coming. Captain. Gon also sniffed the air, looking nervous. Not long after the two finished speaking, I saw that the sky, which was originally sunny, had dark thunderclouds in the distance. This is a sign of the coming storm. The sky dimmed at a speed visible to the naked eye. Soon, the storm is coming. But thanks to Liku's reminder, the captain has come down and made preparations in advance. This old man is really tough, and he drove the ship across the entire storm area. After a night of storm destruction, most of the people who participated in the hunter assessment on the whole ship were already dizzy and unconscious. Only a few were still conscious. This rainstorm is not unexpected. This area should often have rainstorms. Liku looked at the sea surface, which was gradually calming down. Brother Ku? What? What did you just say? Gon next to him was confused. Liku was speechless. Liurio and Kurapika were still in good condition not far away, while the others were completely eliminated. Sure enough, the captain with rosacea came to check the cabin, and then summoned the 4 people to the captain's room, and began to ask them about the purpose of participating in the assessment. Kurapika was reluctant to say, but when the old man revealed that he was the auditor of the assessment audit, the people present were shocked. All the others were eliminated. Only the 4 of them passed the preliminary audition on the whole ship. If you don't make your motivation for participating in the assessment clear, you will be eliminated directly. Kurapika had to tell a secret. He was the only survivor of the Karuta tribe, and he became a hunter for revenge for killing the people in the brigade. Gon wanted to follow in his father's footsteps, and Liurio wanted to enjoy life and make more money. What about you? Little guy, what is your purpose in becoming a hunter? The captain looked at Liku curiously. His decades of experience made it difficult for him to see through Liku. This boy, who was only a teenager, was calm and composed in a way that was totally inconsistent with his age. Sometimes, he even felt that he could see through him. Me? Of course, it's to become stronger. Only by becoming stronger can you pursue what you like. Liku said, Then what do you like? This shouldn't be within the scope of the answer, right? Indeed. Haha. Kazio. Record their words and report them to the committee truthfully. The 4 of you have passed this audition. If there are no problems, you can go back to the cabin to rest. The captain with rosacea laughed. Let's go back on. Yeah, Brother Ku. Liku yawned, put his hands in his pockets, and turned away. Wait, Kurapika suddenly called him. Liku and Gon stopped and looked at Kurapika behind them curiously. I noticed you the moment I boarded the ship. Are you hostile to me? Do you know some news about the brigade? Kurapika said in a deep voice. He has a morbid obsession with the brigade. The entire tribe was killed by the brigade. It is this hatred that has been supporting Kurapika on this path. Moreover, he is very sensitive to hostility. Hostile? Liku was stunned for a moment, and then suddenly realized. It is probably because when he just uploaded it, he saw the red entry for the first time and felt a little moved. I don't know. If you are asking questions, I'm afraid no one will be willing to answer. Liku shrugged. Let's fight. You knock me down, or I knock you down. I must know everything about the brigade. I don't want to hurt you, but please don't make it difficult for me. Kurapika stared at Liku with burning eyes. For the brigade, he was almost crazy. Alas, a child's trick, no. Lika had no interest at all. Ding. Kurapika. When you enter the battle posture, 10% chance to randomly copy the entry when you defeat the target, 100% chance to randomly plunder the entry when you kill the target. The cold mechanical voice suddenly sounded in his mind. This made Liku, who was originally uninterested, instantly excited. You can get the entry by entering the battle posture? My system can actually be used in this way. Okay, it's all because the people of Whale Island are too harmonious. 15 years have passed. No one has bullied Liku, and Liku has never bullied any children. So this function of the system was discovered for the first time. Okay, as you wish, as long as you defeat me, I can naturally give you the news you want. If you lose, Liku laughed. Gon couldn't help but grab the corner of Liku's clothes. You should bear it. Don't make a mistake. His words made Leorio, who was watching the show, almost drop his jaw. This Liku is so strong. Could this guy have killed someone before? Boom, boom. Thunder suddenly exploded in the sky. The rainstorm that had originally subsided fell again, and the sea was turbulent. It turned out to be a storm that was even bigger than before. This forced the captain, who was originally preparing to rescue, to start shouting and calling the sailors to control the ship. On the deck with strong winds and waves, Kurapika and Liku looked at each other's fighting power. As long as you promise to tell me what you know, I won't attack you. You are not my opponent. Kurapika advised again. Brother, fight quickly. 10% per drop. Does it mean that if you beat Kurapika 10 times, you can drop 100%? Huh. Liku didn't mean to talk nonsense with him. He was more concerned about the 10% probability problem now. Bang, the rain poured down. Liku moved instantly. The hardwood deck was even stepped on by him to leave a dent mark of cracking. The raindrops hit his tense muscles and dispersed instantly. Like a cheetah in the dark night. The speed was extremely fast, and every movement was full of power. The simplest straight punch. But because of the fast speed, when Kurapika reacted, Liku had already rushed in front of him. So fast. Kurapika exclaimed in his heart, and suddenly covered his sword with both hands to block. But the moment he blocked the opponent's fist, his face changed. The huge force from the wooden sword made him feel like he was hit head-on by a speeding car. The amazing force tore his tiger's mouth in an instant. The man and the wooden sword were blasted away, several meters away by a punch. It hit the deck heavily. When he reacted with difficulty, the opponent had already arrived in front of him. The fingers were like knives, pressing against his neck. You lose, Kurapika. Liku spoke calmly. Kurapika was stunned in place. Ding. You defeated Kurapika. The entry system has a 10% chance to randomly copy the target entry. Copying. Copying successfully. Chapter 5. Lifelong Friendship. Copying succeeded. Congratulations on obtaining Fire Red Eyes. Red. This ability is a bloodline ability. The host does not have this bloodline, but this ability is still effective, and there is no red eye feature after opening the eyes. A voice like the sound of nature rang in Liku's mind. A sudden surprise. It was like buying a lottery ticket and scratching out $1 million jackpot. Even Liku himself couldn't believe that the probability of copying was only 10%. As for which one to copy, it all depends on luck. Generally speaking, the higher the quality of the entry, the lower the probability of being copied and plundered. Maybe the probability of this red entry being copied is only 1/1000 or even 1/1,000,000. But the goddess of fate seems to have favored Liku. Fire Red Eyes is a very top-level ability in the entire known hunter world. Once it is turned on, it can increase the none of 6 systems to 100%. This is also the reason why Kurapika was able to single-handedly defeat Yuvajin, a member of the A-level wanted criminal brigade, after obtaining none. And it was a big win. Such a fierce clan is exactly the same as the Uchiha in the Naruto world. A man is innocent but guilty of possessing a treasure. I am afraid that the guy who wanted to destroy their clan members at the beginning did not really just like them, those gem-like eyes. But now, I'm so lucky to get the red eyes. I don't have to worry about being discovered after opening my eyes. It can be said that I'm super lucky. Since the battle can get drops, it seems that I will find an opportunity to fight all the people in Likatuan. Gon's entry is also quite abnormal. Boom! A huge wave hit the ship, almost overturning the whole ship. The injured Kurapika was caught off guard and was directly blown away by the waves. And the rookie sailor Kazio during the day. I said it wrong. He is the deputy examiner, and only the captain knows this identity. Obviously, he has very little experience in sailing and almost fell, but was pulled by Liurio and Gon. Oops, Kurapika fell. But Gon, who watched Kurapika fall, screamed. But before he could react, plop, Liko had already jumped down and fell into the sea with Kurapika. In this stormy weather in the middle of the night, it can be said that falling into the sea is basically equivalent to death. No one can salvage a living person from the ocean on a stormy night. The old captain and other sailors who saw this scene were also shocked. They didn't expect Limu to jump down to save people so decisively, but it was obviously too reckless. Brother Cook. The storm covered Gon's screams. Gurgle, gurgle. In the turbulent sea, Kurapika struggled, and seawater kept pouring into his head and mouth. He felt that he was going to die, but now he didn't want to die so easily, because his revenge had not been avenged yet. Suddenly, when he was extremely desperate and watched himself sinking more and more almost to endless darkness, a hand rushed into his sight and grabbed him. Liku, because of surprise, Kurapika drank a few more mouthfuls of seawater. The salty taste made him want to cough, but he couldn't even do it in the water. He was crazy. He actually jumped down to save himself? Didn't he have ill will towards me? Why was he willing to risk his life to save me? Countless thoughts flashed through Kurapika's mind. Hold me tight. Gurgle, gurgle. Liku's voice came, and Kurapika shook his head. He was desperate. In such a storm, it was impossible for the two to survive. If it weren't for him, the other party might not have to risk his life. He actually chose to let go. His hand just loosened but was suddenly grabbed by Liku. Without saying anything, Liku pulled him and swam towards the sea. He even swam under him and lifted Kurapika up. In such a huge wave, even a good swimmer would definitely suffocate and drown. The only chance to survive was to lift him up. No. Why? Why did you save me? Kurapika, who was half lifted out of the sea and breathing heavily, burst into tears. He tried desperately to struggle, but he immediately carried him and swam towards the ship. Like, let me go quickly. It's my fault, Kurapika cried heartbreakingly. He felt that if he lived one more second, would die immediately. Kurapika's body sank. Only his head floated up, but in this turbulent sea, both of them could only drink seawater. I'm fine. Kurapika, hang on. The storm will soon pass. Gurgle, gurgle. After saying that, dived again and lifted Kurapika up. Who is water-breathing gold, can even live underwater for 1 or 2 months without breathing if he wants. He is a complete little Superman of the ocean. This storm is just a drizzle for him. But he can't bear to watch Kurapika die. It's definitely not for the unfinished golden items on the other party. Promise. Half an hour later, the ship was in a mess, but fortunately the storm was finally over. Brother Gon, who was caught by several sailors, was finally released. He shouted and rushed to the side of the ship. Liurio, the old captain, and others also looked gloomy. No one expected this to happen. It's a pity. Such a good guy. If he can become a professional hunter, his future will definitely be full of light and justice. The old captain sighed with emotion, his eyes moist. Hurry up and arrange someone to find Liku. Captain, he may still be alive. Liurio was a little anxious. Although he kept saying that he loved money, this guy was full of love in his heart more than anyone else. It's useless. In such a big storm, even the best swimmer can't survive. My condolences. Alas, several old sailors on the side had bitter expressions. Brother Ku, is still alive. Kurapika is also alive. Gon's excited shout came from the side of the ship. How was it possible? In such a big storm, even fish may be drowned. The old captain smiled bitterly and shook his head. But the next second he was dumbfounded, and Leorio and other sailors present. On the side of the ship, drenched as a drowned chicken, Liku, with perfect muscle lines like a cheetah, grabbed Kurapika with one hand and climbed up from the side of the ship with the other hand. The data is too bad. I feel I can't hold on. I'll just post all the saved manuscripts chapter 16. You and the examiner establish a battle stance port of Doorport. The scarred ship anchored here. The rosaceous-nosed captain, Kazio, and others personally got off the ship to see them off. This is the next assessment location. Mr. Liku, you have shown me the true righteousness. I sincerely hope that you can pass this hunter assessment. The human world needs strong and upright people like you to protect it, the rosaceous-nosed captain said to Liku with respect. He even changed his name to Mr. Liku, using the honorific you. The fact that Liku saved Kurapika last night shocked the entire fleet for a whole year. It was the first time they saw a monster that could survive such an amazing storm. Yes, Captain, and I wish you and everyone a safe voyage, Lika said with a smile. He was more kind to this world. Because he originally came to this world alone, it was the people of Whale Island who gave him his current life. I'm telling you some news. Do you see that big fir tree? Just walk in that direction, and you'll get to the venue. Thank you, Captain. That's great, Brother Ku. Gon was very excited. The four said goodbye to the captain and left together. Port Door is a port city, much more prosperous than Whale Island. In addition, it happened to be the Hunter Assessment Day recently, and candidates from all over the country were sent here, so it was even more lively. Yesterday, thank you. I owe you a huge favor. If there is anything, I can help you do it, but please do it after I have completed my revenge. Kurapika stopped and said to Liku very solemnly. Leorio and Gon also stopped. They saved Kazio yesterday, so they can be regarded as friends. The four became friends because of this. You're welcome. I do know some news about your people, but in fact, it is limited to hearing that your eyes are rewarded at a sky-high price in the black market. Sorry, I actually have no ill intentions. Liku also explained. Kurapika naturally felt that Liku had no ill intentions. Or rather, after obtaining this red entry, Liku already possessed Kurapika's fiery red eyes. Naturally, there would be no hostility. As for the other golden entries, it would be fine to wait until the right time to brush them. I was too reckless and almost caused a big misunderstanding. It's not your fault. Kurapika thought it was her fault. You two guys keep apologizing like this. We don't want to go anywhere today. Isn't the assessment address Saba City? There's a car to Saba City next to it. Why go the opposite direction? Could it be that the captain made a mistake? Leorio interrupted the conversation between the two and pointed to the sign on the square. Because the location given for the hunter assessment is Saba City. It is completely in two directions from the mountaintop cedar that the captain said. Brother Ku, how do we go? I don't think the captain will lie to us. Gon looked at Liku with a questioning look. Although Leorio is older than Liku from his performance last night, he also acquiesced that Liku is the team leader. For a moment, the other three people looked at Liku. The car in Saba City is just a scam for novices. Those cars cannot reach it. The captain did not deceive us. It is in the direction of the mountain. Let's go. Liku smiled. The hunter license is indeed very important to him. With this thing, you can not only enjoy the corresponding national benefits, but also step into many restricted areas around the world. The entry reading system you own will eventually grow up. I am afraid that the ultimate goal in this world is to invade the Dark Continent. There are all kinds of terrifying existences in the Dark Continent. If you're strong enough to hunt those things, the entries you get will be amazing. Of course, that is a very distant thing, at least for now. It is a wise choice to spend some energy and time to get a hunter license. Great, let's go up the mountain. Gon was immediately excited and ran excitedly with his luggage and fishing rod. Kurapika also has a very long physical strength. Liku is the most perverted of the perverts. Leorio was exhausted. The saying, "a horse will die if it is too far ahead," is true. An hour later, Liurio was exhausted, and Kurapika and Gon were sweating. It was Li Ku. He didn't even take a breath from beginning to end. This guy seemed to have full physical strength. Or rather, this level of consumption was far less than Li Ku's physical recovery. Several people had already reached the halfway point of the mountain. What appeared in front of them was a deserted block. No one lived there. Only some predatory crows made strange caws. The atmosphere was a bit weird and creepy. There's no one in this ghost place. It makes people feel uncomfortable. Liurio complained, looking around with a little chill on his back. No, there are a lot of people here. Well, everyone be careful, Gon and Kurapika said. Liko also looked into the distance. No, what's going on? Where are there people? Why can't I see them? Liurio looked at the empty street blankly, his expression a little horrified. Breathing sound and the sound of clothes rubbing they hid. Gon and Kurapika heard it. Lika naturally heard it very clearly. The next second, a long wooden wheel cart was moved over, with a group of strange people wearing masks and white robes playing music. An old woman with a rosary sat at the table, her face solemn. Lika's eyes suddenly lit up, because he could clearly see the entry information of these people in front of him. Name, Examiner Ikeda Emi entries. Divination, blue. Momentum, blue. Seduction, green. Heart disease, blue name. Deputy Examiner 1 entries. Fists and kicks, blue. Long endurance, blue name. Deputy Examiner 2 entries. Swordsmanship, blue. Sharp reaction, green. There are actually blue entries. The dozen or so masked lieutenants behind him are all those guys who are hidden and naturally much stronger than ordinary people. And many of them are what he needs. Really very lucky. In my previous life, when I was watching anime, I was still wondering how an old woman and a few funny people could stop all the candidates. This is equivalent to the second selection. The candidates who come here are all strong. It seems that they are hiding their abilities. In this case, it saves me a lot of effort. Enemy attack. Be careful, Lika suddenly exclaimed and rushed towards the examiners in front of him like a cheetah. Ding! You and the chief examiner have established a battle state. If you defeat them, there's a 10% chance of copying the entry. Ding! You and the deputy examiner 1 have established a battle posture. If you defeat them, you can. System prompts sounded one after another. Chapter 7. Phantom Purple. What? Liku's exclamation made everyone a little slow to react. But Liku had already rushed up. Bang, 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 a series of screams and wails. More than a dozen deputy examiners in masks and robes were knocked to the ground by Liku's fists. Even the unlucky old woman was not spared in the end. This scene shocked a candidate who followed them and tried to steal the chicken. Ding! You defeated Examiner No. 3. Randomly copied the entry. Congratulations on obtaining swordsmanship. Green. Ding! You defeated Examiner number 7. Randomly copied the entry. Congratulations on obtaining fighting. Green. Ding! You defeated the chief examiner. Randomly copied the entry. Congratulations on obtaining divination. Blue. A series of heavenly sounds rang out. But it is regrettable. After all, it is just a defeat, not a kill, and the probability of copying the entry is very limited. The result is also quite satisfactory. Divination, blue. Swordsmanship, green. Fighting, green. Endurance, green. It was a small cleanup. 1 blue, the rest are green, which is a pretty good configuration for hunter candidates. Elite monster level. Ahem, the old woman lying on the ground had the urge to spit blood. She was just knocked down by Li Ku's gentle hand. She was not injured, but she was speechless for a while. The people behind him were also very confused. This seems it doesn't look like a sneak attack. Okay, here's the way, let's go from here. Lika pushed the wooden cart away, and the road leading to the top of the mountain suddenly appeared behind him. Great! I didn't expect that the old lady would learn to sneak attack at such an old age, fortunately. Brotherhood didn't hit her hard. Gon followed excitedly. Kurapika and Liurio were a little confused, but they also hurriedly followed, watching the 4 people disappear from their backs. The old woman spat out a mouthful of blood, very angry. I am the examiner here. These little guys actually beat me up, especially that kid. Cough, cough, cough. The old woman trembled. Grandma, Should we report to cancel their examination qualifications? Cough, 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 report shit. We didn't even have time to tell them about our unknown identities. They don't know we are examiners. Doesn't that mean we were beaten in vain? Aren't you surprised that the little guy is so strong? It feels like he is comparable to a professional hunter. I'm afraid a monster will appear this year. These masked men with bruised faces and noses screamed. That kid, what are you looking at? Hurry up and get ready to answer the questions. I am the examiner. I am the examiner. The old woman noticed the dumbfounded trailing candidate behind her and got up awkwardly, venting all her anger on the trailing brother. Hurry up. Damn, what are you still standing there for? We are examiners. Boy. The masked men also rushed to announce their identities, fearing that they would be beaten again. The tailing brother. His expression was like he had swallowed a few pieces of hot shit in an instant, and his face turned green. Originally, he was expecting to follow Liku and others to take a shortcut and then cheat them. The result, others poked the hornet's nest and got the honey. But I was the one covered? Damn it. The top of the mountain, under the big cedar tree. The sky has gradually darkened. At first, when I looked at this mountain at the port, it didn't seem big, but when I really climbed up, I found that it took almost a day to walk to the top of the mountain. Everyone was a little tired. Why are you watching out for monsters again? But I didn't see any monsters. Leorio looked at the warning sign not far away with a strange expression. Then, look, under the big cedar tree, we are here. It's so quiet. Is there no other examinee besides us? Gon was excited. Something is not right in front of us. But now we can't care about so much. We just hope to find the guide as quickly as possible, and it would be best if we can have a good meal and rest. Then we will go to the test in high spirits. Is anyone there? We are the candidates who come to take the test. Leorio walked up and knocked on the door, but there was no response after knocking for a long time. Then I'll come in. Leorio glanced at everyone, and after finding that the door was not locked, he slowly pushed the door open. Roar, 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 the low roar of the beast came. The scene that came into view instantly stunned the people present. The house was in a mess. The smell of blood was strong. On the floor not far away, a man covered in blood was lying on the ground in a pool of blood, and his life or death was unknown. And in front of him, a weasel-like monster that was 2 or 3 meters tall grabbed a young woman, and there was even residual meat at the corner of its mouth. The other party's fierce eyes were staring at the dead person with ill intentions, and saliva flowed from the corner of his mouth. You looked at me. It means you have ideas about me, which means you. Li Ku frowned slightly, and it was natural to solve problems quickly by applying formulas. It's the transformation monster Fierce Fox. Kurapika exclaimed, clenching the wooden sword weapon in his hand. The monster glanced at the few people, turned around, and smashed the glass window to escape. The man who was lying on the ground with injuries all over his body also woke up, but before he asked everyone to help chase the fierce fox. A figure had already rushed out quickly, and he grabbed the opponent's hind legs heavily, dragging the half-jumped fox back. Then, super strength gold. His right hand shook. The power that was transmitted immediately surged like a wave, and the girl in the fox's hand was thrown directly out and was caught steadily by Kurapika. Then, in everyone's extremely shocked eyes, the fox screamed. Boom! I only saw Li Ku grabbing the fox's right leg with his right hand, and then swinging it on the ground like a hammer. The floor exploded, and the window exploded. Boom, 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 boom. 3 or 4 consecutive heavy swings. The fox, who was extremely arrogant in the last second, showed a malicious smile to everyone. At this moment, it fell to the ground like a tattered rag doll. Ding! You defeated the Warcraft fox. 10% probability of automatically copying the entry. Copying failed. The system prompt sounded. It didn't drop any attributes. Li Ku was helpless. The attribute of this monster fox is quite good, but I didn't expect the drop rate to be so touching. Dad! The man lying in the pool of blood suddenly cried out, and after realizing his loss of composure, he quickly covered his mouth. But his voice was still heard by Gon and the other two. The 3 of them stared at each other with confused expressions. Crash! The window of the guest bedroom suddenly shattered. Another almost identical fox appeared. After seeing his wife lying on the ground with serious injuries, he was even more furious. The sharp claws tore the wall apart like tofu. After a few jumps, he rushed to Liku. Come on. Liku was not surprised, but happy. Super strength gold. A step. Boom. Starting from his right foot, the ground collapsed by 2 meters in an instant. Broken glass shards and wood blocks flew up. A throw of the hand. Crash. These fragments flew towards the rampaging fox like bullets, just as the fox tried to block it. Speed gold. Liku's speed almost left an afterimage. Strength, gold, fighting, green, whip kick split the mountain with force. The whip-like leg hit the fox's abdomen. Its expression changed rapidly from fierce to horrified, shocked, and painful. Boom, the fox fell to the ground. The floor collapsed directly. It was like being crushed by a Tyrannosaurus Rex. The fox was also hammered so hard that it could hardly stand up. Ding! You defeated the female fox and successfully copied the shape-shifting, purple, entry, bingo, perfect. Chapter 8 Liku. Thank you. You are a good person, don't hurt mom. The young woman who was previously a hostage screamed and rushed over to block the injured fierce fox. Liku's fist stopped. The wind of the fist swept past. A concave fist mark appeared on the wall behind the woman. She sat down with a blank mind. We are the guides. A fierce fox lying on the ground got up with difficulty, his voice trembling. 15 minutes later. That's probably the situation. My husband and I are the guides, but I didn't expect a monster like you to appear this year. Ahem, no, it's such a strong man. The fierce fox with a swollen nose and face said miserably. The little brother should have held back, otherwise we wouldn't be standing here talking. The mother of the fierce fox sighed. Too strong. They never dreamed that the candidates who participated in the hunter assessment would have such strong strength. This little guy is definitely comparable to a professional hunter. Originally, they were going to decide whether to let them pass based on the performance of these candidates. But now, you all pass, sir. The father of the fierce fox said hurriedly. But we didn't have any tests, right? Why do we pass directly? Gon was curious. You are all friends of the sir. Since you can become friends with the sir, you must be extraordinary. So after our discussion, we all agreed that you can pass. Mother, why don't you send a few brothers to the venue tonight? There is no time to lose. Yes, let's go now. The 2 fierce foxes smiled and flattered. This abrupt expression made the man and the young woman dumbfounded. They're the son and daughter of the fierce fox, and they have never seen their parents with such expressions. Which candidate who came here was not scolded? Is your injury serious? Otherwise, let's take a rest for a night and talk tomorrow. Karapika said kindly. No. The assessment of the adults is the most important. Our injuries are not important. We will send everyone away now. Yes. The 2 fierce foxes shook their heads like rattles, fearing that Liku would stay here any longer. They were eager to send him away quickly. Both of them were psychologically traumatized. They are obviously human beings, but they have more abnormal power than monsters. Of course, the power of the fierce fox is not abnormal, but it should never be beaten by the examinees, especially the young daughter of the fierce fox, whose face is still pale and dare not look at Liku directly. Okay, leave one of your contact information, send us all the way there, and I will definitely come to thank you when I become an official hunter in the future. Liku said politely. After all, it is a monster that produces this shapeshift. Entry. How can it be easily let go? This. The fierce fox father was shaking all over when he heard this. Sir, here is the contact information. No need to thank me. This is what we should do. Let's go. The mother of the fierce fox winked at him. The 2 of them gave the contact information to Liku directly. After that, the family trembled with fear and took Liku, the big evil star, and others to Saba City overnight. A long night. Saba City, an extremely prosperous medium-sized city, coupled with a recent hunter assessment period. A large number of people from all over the world gathered here. The streets were bustling, with all kinds of vendors and hawkers coming and going. The father of the fierce fox transformed into an ordinary person and took the initiative to lead the way, and the mother of the fierce fox hurriedly led her son and daughter to leave in a hurry. It's walking so fast, It feels like it's afraid of us. Gon couldn't help but sigh. No, no. The fox father smiled awkwardly. He couldn't figure out Liku's thoughts and was afraid that the whole family would be wiped out. What a tall building. This should be the tallest building in the city, right? Several people stopped in front of a towering building. This should be a gathering of strong people from all over the world who want to become hunters. Hunter's first challenge. Did Dad feel the same way at the time? Gon, Leorio, and Karapika were all excited. Such a magnificent skyscraper really matches the identity of a professional hunter. It makes people admire the dream journey after becoming a hunter. Everyone, here, in a barbecue restaurant where the hunter assessment will be held. The fox father said with an embarrassed expression. Hey, are you kidding? Why are you in a place like a roadside stall? Are all the hunter assessments from all over the world gathered here? Leorio complained. He had just imagined the luxurious layout and enjoyment in the skyscraper, but he didn't expect to fall from the clouds to the bottom of the valley. This is the fact. I'm really sorry, but this is the rule of the association, and we can't do anything about it. Please come in, Lord Liku. The passerby who changed into the fierce fox father forced a smile. Let's go. This is where the venue is. By the way, we haven't eaten enough yet. At least let us have a full meal first. Liku waved his hand and stepped in first. Of course, don't worry. The fierce fox father agreed quickly. Several people followed in. The barbecue restaurant was not big. Only an uncle was grilling meat, and some guests were sitting here and there. The barbecue sizzled in the oil pan, exuding a tempting aroma. Is the one inside empty? I want a steak set meal for 4 people. The fierce fox father said in code. The middle-aged bloated uncle who heard this looked at the few people curiously. His eyes flashed across Liku and the other 4, and his expression was surprised. The young age of the few people was unexpected. Wait, let the guests have a full meal first. Remember, it's after a full meal. Thank you for your help. The fierce fox father was very polite and even took out his frog wallet and handed it to the boss. This made the bloated uncle stunned. In previous years, when he sent people here, he would directly lock them in a small dark room and take the elevator directly to the entrance. But now, he actually took the initiative to pay for the candidates' food, and he even took care of their fullness. The person in front of him was a fierce fox with a bad temper. Okay, got it. I will do as you ask. What do you want to eat? Our store has barbecue, steak, and... The bloated uncle accepted the purse and said politely, I want a steak. I want half a roasted whole lamb. 1 barbecue fried rice will do. Gon and others were very excited. 30 portions of the best steak and barbecue. Liku's words stunned the customers present, and the boss was even more dumbfounded. Don't worry, I have a good appetite, Mr. Fox. You won't mind spending money, right? No, boss. I'll do as this gentleman ordered. Mr. G, please enjoy. The father of the fierce fox hurriedly said. His smile squeezed out wrinkles on his face. You are such a good person. Thank you. Liku bowed slightly. Since he had these top-level items, his eating ability has been very strong. With the big landlord fierce fox here, naturally we can't be polite. Chapter 9. New killer hello, Mr. Tampa. An hour later. The people who had eaten and drunk enough leaned back on the chairs in the box. The fierce fox is really a good person. He actually treated us to such a big meal. Gon stroked his round belly. Yes, when we become professional hunters, we must repay him. Leorio was also satisfied. There were 30 clean trays in front of Liku. Ding! After everyone had eaten and drunk completely, the owner of the barbecue restaurant followed the arrangement of the fierce fox and pressed the elevator button. My lords, the examination room is downstairs. I will not accompany you down. Less than 1 in 10,000 people can walk here. Although the next assessment will eliminate most of them, I believe that Lord Liku and you are very confident that you can pass it. Goodbye. After sending away the 4 plague gods, the fierce fox leaned against the wall, sweating profusely and panting. He looked at his shriveled purse, but he was very grateful in his heart. The whole box began to sink. He said that all 4 of us will pass. It seems that we are really lucky. The fierce fox father is a good person. Gon was very excited. 1 in 3 years, the normal passing rate for professional hunter rookies. The reason for this evaluation is probably because of Brother Ku. Kurapika looked solemn. So few? Only 1 in 3 years? Gon was stunned. He didn't expect the passing rate of professional hunters to be so low. In fact, there are many newcomers who have mental breakdowns due to the strict test, and many who have been tortured by veterans and suffered serious injuries, and some cannot take the test. This is a bit exaggerated, but it is the fact, which is why professional hunters are so rare. That is to say, this assessment is very easy for Brother Ku, but it may be difficult for us. Leorio crossed his arms and hesitated. That's about it, Kurapika explained. Don't worry too much. You'll most likely pass this round this year. Leorio smiled. Brother Ku, we will all pass. Are you going to protect us? That's not right. Hunter assessments are divided into single and multiple people. If it's a single person, even Brother Ku, you can't guarantee it? Or do you know the examiner of the assessment, Brother Ku? Leorio immediately became interested. Gon and Kurapika were also surprised. They didn't understand the source of Li Ku's confidence. During the conversation, a crisp sounded ding. The elevator has arrived at the 100th floor, which is the entrance floor for the assessment. The elevator door slowly opened. What appeared in front of everyone was a dilapidated and wide underground passage. The lights were bright. It was already densely packed with candidates from other parts of the world. After seeing several people coming out of the elevator door, many eyes were looking back and forth. Especially after seeing the young appearance of several people, there was a slight sneer from the crowd. Every year, some young people come to participate in the assessment without knowing their own abilities. The result is that participation is important. The arrival of Li Ku and his friends did not attract much attention. Everyone has gotten used to it. If they fail the exam, they could just come back next year. These guys are obviously different from the candidates we met in the port and town. Kurapika looked serious. They are much more powerful, and everyone looks very tough. Some even have weapons. Leorio had to be serious. You are finally here. Here are your number cards. Please accept them. A bald man in a green suit came over and handed over the number cards to several people with his short hands. 403 Leorio. 404 Kurapika. 405 Gon. 406 Li Ku. Because of the privilege of enjoying steak, Li Ku's team was the last to come down. The bean-faced man explained the situation of the number plate and turned to leave. Li Ku looked at the bean-faced man and rubbed his chin. Name, bean-faced man items. Delicious, blue. Cowardly, green. Focused, blue. This guy seems to be the assistant of the association, President Netero. The blue item is also good. His eyes swept across the whole venue. Looking around, it was densely packed. Basically, most of the items were green and white, and a small part was blue. Occasionally, there was a touch of purple. Haha, you guys over there, you're new here, right? Hi, my name is Tampa. I participated in hunter trials 35 times, so I'm considered a veteran in hunter trials. If you don't understand anything, feel free to ask me. The new killer Tampa jumped down. He was a middle-aged man with a big nose, short and fat, and looked honest and decent. He glanced at the 4 people and quickly noticed Li Ku, because he could clearly see that Gon and the others were led by Li Ku. So Tampa extended his hand to Li Ku in a friendly manner. The other party's information suddenly appeared in Li Ku's vision. Name, Tampa items. Disguise, blue. Kidney deficiency, blue. Luck, blue. Drug production, green. Fighting, white. No wonder this guy has a bit of a perversion in his heart. Just because he couldn't become a professional hunter, he even had a bad life. So he regarded attacking those new candidates as his greatest pleasure and life goal. Especially torturing geniuses until they collapsed was the most fulfilling thing for him. How are you going to plot against us? Rookie killer Tampa. Li Ku suddenly smiled. What? Tampa's smile froze, his pupils shrank, and his expression stiffened. Using extremely despicable means, such as poisoned drinks or deliberately dragging teammates into the water during the assessment, at least more than 50 contestants were eliminated. Relying on the appearance of a hypocritical and honest man. The assessment goal is to torture the genius rookie and completely destroy his confidence. So Mr. Tampa, The rookie killer who failed the assessment for 35 consecutive times. Right. I don't know if you're going to poison us or sell out your teammates in the next assessment. Lika held his hand and smiled with white teeth. I didn't. You were talking nonsense. I'm a good guy, Tampa. This is everyone. Tampa screamed. His hand bones were almost crushed by Liku. Then the drinks in the bag fell to the ground, along with some unknown pills and white powder. This scene made Gon, Kurapika, and the other two extremely stunned. Bang, a solid knee strike. Tampa fell to his knees on the spot and vomited bile and lost his fighting power. Ding. You and candidate Tampa entered the battle posture. 10% chance to copy the target randomly after defeating it. Ding. You defeated candidate 016 Tampa. Ding. Copy successfully. Congratulations on winning. Lucky. Blue. A sound like the sound of nature rang out. Bingo. One shot hit the target. Comfortable. Chapter 10. Double explosion. Double gold items released. Congratulations on getting the entry. Lucky. Blue. Entry. Lucky. Blue say. Occasionally you will get lucky. This thing is unpredictable. As expected of a rookie killer. Lucky entries are very rare. At least Liku has killed fish for 10 years without seeing any, and no one in the entire Whale Island has a lucky entry. But it seems understandable if you think about it. Tampa has been pitting his teammates and killing rookies for 35 consecutive games, and his own strength is weak. He can still participate in this competition in such a good condition. He has no special background, and there is really no other reason except good luck. Of course, this guy's camouflage ability is also good. Luck is a thing that does not matter whether it is high or low quality. It's like a critical hit. You can choose not to add it, but you must click at least 1 point. Even a 0.5% critical hit of an inscription may determine the outcome of a game. Luck is a thing that may only be a little more once in a lifetime, and maybe you can have an extra life. It's never too late to get good things. FK, this guy is really arrogant. He dares to take action here directly. The examiner hasn't come yet. How about we kill him? We will have fewer opponents later. It's better to be steady. It's not too late to deal with him after the examination starts. Several ugly examinees next to them stared at Liku and his friends with ill intentions. Everyone understands. The probability of passing the professional hunter examination every year is very low. In addition to their own abilities, there is also competition among each other. The combination of Liku and his 4 people looks absolutely the most useless in the whole field, and the youngest, so naturally they have become the priority target of many people to eliminate. At least in their opinion. Eliminating some of the waste can also improve their pass rate in disguise. However, they're looking at me. They're going to do us. The first to strike is the strongest, and the last to strike will suffer. They must be killed. Liku just glanced at them. Things like applying formulas to solve problems are too easy for time travelers. What's more, in this assessment, as long as you don't kill someone before being discovered, it won't affect the official score. Didn't the god of toilet, War Hisoka, kill someone? But it's okay if that guy is not discovered. If you kill Tampa here, you will be discovered 100%, but beating him up is not a problem. Speed gold. Super strength gold. Before these guys can discuss when to deal with Liku and others. Liku has already set out. His muscles are tense, and his perfect muscle lines like a cheetah are enough to make girls drool. But in front of these rough guys, they can only see the afterimage of the wind. Hey, Liku has already rushed in front of them. FK. Kill him. The team of nearly 10 people reacted and suddenly got angry, and they picked up their weapons one by one. Bang, charge, a heavy punch. Liku's fist hit the yellow-haired mohawk in front of him heavily, and the shield in the opponent's hand broke like a biscuit on the spot. Then the whole person was blown away like a bowling ball. There was a dull thud. The group of younger brothers behind him screamed and fell down one after another. But before they could react, Liku had already appeared in front of him. Fists, whip kicks, elbows, and all kinds of attacks fell. It was a dull collision like a storm, accompanied by the sound of broken bones and screams. Ding! You defeated candidate 281 and successfully copied strong. Green. Ding! You defeated candidate 112, but the copy failed. Ding! You defeated candidate 321 and successfully copied perception, green, ding. A series of cold system prompts sounded. 11 candidates. The battle ended in 30 seconds. A total of 4 entries were released. It's not that the drop rate is high, but each of these candidates has several entries, and the 10% probability is enough to produce the expected number. Strength green, perception green, cheat green, taunt. Blue, it's okay. Green entries can be continuously synthesized, and more skills are better than less. As long as the entry is a positive gain, it will be automatically added to you after the system filters it. When defeating this group of guys for the last time, Lika saw a flash of golden light in the crowd. A handsome guy with a skateboard under his arm and short silver hair. Name: Killua entries. Born Assassin, gold. Zoldyck Assassination, gold. Electric Resistance, purple. Poison Resistance, purple, and other hidden entries. Thunder Telekinesis, red. So Lika's attack accidentally went off towards Killua, who was standing very close to the group. Killua, a silver-haired boy in a white short t-shirt, sneered as he turned his back to him. As a genius born in the assassin family Zoldyck, he naturally noticed the sound of breaking air behind him. He actually wanted to attack him? It was really ridiculous. They didn't know that they were the real assassins, not the little brats playing house. Killua turned around with a sneer on his lips, one hand in his pocket, and the other hand's fingers were like knives. His nails flashed with a sharp luster. His movements are not fast, but the intuition of the top genius killer told him that he could perfectly resist the opponent's attack and then counterattack. In his opinion, Lika's attack obviously had loopholes. What a group of unfriendly guys. This is the hunter assessment. Interesting. Killua sneered in his heart. He didn't want to make trouble here, but since others had bullied him, he would naturally not let them go. Even though the other party also looks like a teenager, very young. The distance between the two quickly closed. Killua had no intention of avoiding it. The killer was best at close combat, and he was absolutely sure that he could knock the other party down with one blow. But at the moment when the two sides were about to fight, Killua's pupils suddenly expanded, and the whole person seemed to have been drained of his soul in an instant. He was stunned in place. Even his hands couldn't help but tremble slightly. An extremely familiar and terrifying face with a strange smile appeared in front of him. Ilmi. The other party seemed to be laughing at his weakness again. I. Just the moment he saw Ilmi, Killua seemed to have lost his resistance and instinctively feared. But the next moment, he suddenly saw clearly that the person coming was not Ilmi, but a completely unfamiliar but handsome guy, the guy who just swept a small group. Phantom, purple, even if it was just for a moment. Liko also understood that it was enough. The fox's ability to transform is very useful. It can disguise any face that can be imagined, and it also has momentum. In an instant, it disguised itself as Ilmi. Killua crashed on the spot. When he reacted, he saw a palm coming towards him. Before Liku grabbed his neck, the system had already determined that Killua was defeated. Ding. You and candidate Killua entered the battle posture. Ding. You defeated the opponent. Ding. Randomly copying. Copying successfully. Ding. Congratulations on obtaining the entry Born Assassin, gold. Zoldyck Assassination, gold. What? Double gold. This time Liku was stunned, killing small monsters and double exploding legendary epic equipment. Chapter 11. Toilet God of War Hisoka, congratulations on getting the entries Natural Assassin, gold. Zoldyck Assassination Technique, gold. Entry, Natural Assassin, gold. Description, you are a natural assassin, the king who walks in the dark. Entry, Zoldyck Assassination Technique, gold. Description, inherited almost all the core assassination techniques of the Zoldyck family, including advanced techniques such as limb bending. The bigger the wind and waves, the more expensive the fish. So cool. Leaving Whale Island is definitely the right choice. I didn't expect that I would get 2 golds just by brushing Killua. So comfortable. What a pity. I didn't get his red entry, Thunder Telekinesis. But there is still a long way to go. There are plenty of opportunities. There are several big fish in this test, even giant whales. Hisoka, Lumi, it would be the coolest to brush their entries. There's also the Hunter Association President Netero, who is very likely to appear during the assessment. He is known as the strongest combat power in the human race. But Netaro's entries, for now, should still be a copy that Liku cannot clear. But it doesn't matter. Liku has a system. Even if it is infinitely stacked, his own talent entries will become the strongest in the human race, without a doubt. Liku's hand stopped. At this moment, Killua's face was pale, his pupils were dilated, and beads of sweat rolled down his forehead. It seemed that he had just had a nightmare. Oh, sorry, you don't seem to be in their team. You didn't get hurt just now, did you? Liku smiled with concern. I'm fine just now. Killua, who came back to his senses, was still a little unnatural, and there was a trace of fear in his eyes. This Ilmi really let his poor brother immerse himself in fear. Just now it was just a misunderstanding. I thought you were in their group. My name is Liku. Killua, nice to meet you. Liku smiled and turned away. The sudden battle was just a small episode before the assessment, but it also made many candidates present gasp. This monster. This guy is definitely a monster. Too scary. He killed 11 people in 1 minute. This guy's speed and strength are crushing. Don't get close to that monster. They just looked at him for a second longer and got beaten. I don't want to be eliminated so soon. Where Liku walked, the candidates present automatically made way. No candidate dared to look down on Liku and his group. They were even directly marked as danger level, super danger level. Alas, I alerted the enemy, but I still spun a wave. Double gold Killua. Liku is in a particularly good mood now. There's a 10% chance of Killua's double gold. It's really something unexpected, and if it weren't for this shape-shifting talent of the fierce fox, which put Killua in a state of fear, I'm afraid it would take more effort to decide the winner in a real fight between the two. It's true that more skills are better than less. Hey, what a powerful guy. I can't help but want to compete with him. I'm Hanzo. Nice to meet you. Suddenly, the bald ninja Hanzo came over and said with a smile. Number 294, Hanzo. Name, Hanzo entries. Natural ninja, gold, Kimgaku, physical technique, gold, mind duplicate technique, gold, hidden technique, purple, etc. Tiske. Good guy. Hanzo's Gon is definitely top-notch. Liku's eyes lit up slightly. In this test, only 3 people are worthy of his attention. The strength of these 3 guys is far beyond everyone on the field. Toilet God of War Hisoka, Nailhead Illumi, Funny Ninja Hanzo. I am afraid that only these 3 people have awakened telekinesis. Liku does not have telekinesis now, and cannot guarantee that he can defeat the 3 people head-on. However, the Sky Arena is the largest arena in the Hunter world. The condition for entering the upper level there is that you must have none. For Liku, that place is a natural holy land for brushing entries. Even 1,000 mediocre telekinesis entries can be stacked more abnormally than Netero. So Liku is not in a hurry to brush this kind of boss monster now. The next dungeon will also be done step by step. Nice to meet you, Mr. Hanzo. I am Liku. Liku said with a smile. Ha! You're easier to get along with than I thought. Your physical skills are really eye-catching. At your age, you should be considered a true genius. Hanzo praised generously. As a ninja of the Kimogakure, his purpose of participating in this hunter assessment is to find the Hermit Book. He has received very harsh training since he was a child. He knows very well what kind of extraordinary talent Liku has to defeat more than a dozen people at such a fast speed at his age. If Liku can become a ninja, he believes that his achievements will never be inferior to his own. Sure enough, the hunter assessment is full of talents. Hanzo was amazed. Just as the two were talking, suddenly a shrill and terrified scream came from a distance. In the shocked and astonished eyes of everyone, suddenly, a candidate wearing a mohawk, who seemed very powerful, knelt on the ground and screamed in fear. His arms turned into petals, quickly shattered and scattered. An extremely weird scene. The arm turned into a pink petal. The one who caused all this was naturally the god of toilet, War Hisoka. Red exaggerated hair, a pink star and a green tear mark on the cheek, somewhat similar to the clown costume. A short shirt that tightens the abdomen, with a pattern of hearts and diamonds on the back. The makeup is voluptuous and sexy, and the figure is tall. Name: Hisoka items. Super Intuition, red. Conjurer Master of Telekinesis, gold. Physical Genius, gold. Masochism, purple, etc. TSK, TSK, TSK. Unexpected item: the god of toilet war actually has a masochistic tendency, but there are not many people in the world who can abuse him. Lika narrowed his eyes slightly. It's amazing. The hand turned into a petal and disappeared. I didn't do anything. Be careful in the future. If you bump into someone, you should know how to apologize. Hisoka smiled playfully, spread his hands, and smiled at everyone. His words instantly made many people present break out in cold sweats, even more fearful than looking at Liku. The reason is simple. At least it can be known that Liku was beaten, but Hisoka, the other party, just accidentally touched him, and then his arm turned into petals and disappeared. All this is too weird. What a scary guy. Damn, how come I met this dangerous guy again this time? He was able to get a license last year, but I heard that he was disqualified because he didn't like the examiner and beat him half to death. This pervert. The discussion of the crowd also made everyone make way for Hisoka. But what is surprising is, Hisoka actually walked slowly towards the direction of Liku and others. Chapter 12, the first assessment. Hisoka stopped in front of Liku. Brother could gone, and the others couldn't help but exclaimed, looking extremely nervous. The entire venue was briefly silent. All eyes turned to the two of them. These two guys were definitely the most dazzling and feared in the early stage of this assessment. If the two tigers could fight each other, the others couldn't help but feel happy. It would be best if both sides could lose, so that everyone would have a much greater chance of passing this assessment. The assessment is very dangerous. Brother, you must pay attention to safety. Hisoka smiled and passed by. Thanks for the reminder, you too. Liku responded lightly. I'm a time traveler. Can I kill you, a native? Huh. This assessment stipulates that you can't kill people, at least not in public, so there's no need to worry here. Even if they meet face to face in the subsequent examination room, Liku will definitely not be inferior to Hisoka. Without none, how about trying Konoha Kai's level of physical skills? The red entry, fire red eyes, is Liku's trump card. Besides, during this period of time, I can brush the entries without limit. What kind of toilet god is useless in front of me? What a delicious fruit that I look forward to. A gleam of brilliance flashed in Hisoka's eyes, and a perverted smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Ring, ring, ring. Ring. Suddenly, a piercing bell sounded from the end of the passage. The gate that was originally closed opened. A thin man in a suit, as straight as a ruler, came out with a monster head ringing. Purple short hair and a slightly upturned mustache. I'm very sorry to have kept you waiting. The registration period for this hunter test has officially ended. Then the hunter test will be carried out next. Finally confirmed. If you're unlucky or lack strength, you will be seriously injured or even lose your life while waiting for the test. Even so, those who still insist on participating, please follow me. If you choose to give up, please leave the test venue as soon as possible from the elevator at the back. Very good. The number of participants this time is 392. The examiner with a mustache glanced at everyone. The unlucky Tampa and the dozen guys were completely scared. They were really afraid that Liku would beat them to death in the examination room. So they simply gave up the assessment on their own initiative. They can only wait for the next time. It doesn't matter. Anyway, they're just some monsters and Liku is not interested at all. The examiner didn't seem to know that they were beaten, but he still looked at Liku meaningfully. As soon as the voice fell, the examiner with a mustache began to stride forward like a puppet. This passage seemed to have no end. But what was surprising was that this guy was getting faster and faster. From the previous large stride, he quickly changed to a long stride, and then to a sprint. This instantly caused the expressions of many candidates behind him to change, including Liurio. At the beginning, everyone thought it was a very boring test. But as they walked, they suddenly found that it had completely turned into an endurance run. And this continuous endurance fast run seemed to never end in a short time, and the passage that could not see the end seemed to never reach the top. 4.5 hours later, the entire team had been seriously reduced in number. Fat Nick, who had previously boasted of his high IQ and used a computer to count almost everyone's data, was the first to fall. IQ is obviously useless in this pure physical competition. Then there were even more weak candidates. They fell to the ground like dead dog one after another, and even a few suffered myocardial infarctions due to intense exercise. They were dragged down for emergency treatment. This scene deeply stimulated all the candidates. Professional hunter, while enjoying an extremely respected status, it also requires abilities far beyond ordinary people. But there are also many people running in the first echelon. Hanzo, Hisoka, the nail-headed man, the martial artist Bedro, the wrestler Takudo, the snake-brushing man Scar Pung, etc. Of course, there are also Liku, Gon, Kurapika, and Killua who followed. He actually seemed to have a lot to talk to Gon. Leorio was miserable. This guy ran behind, panting and carrying a suitcase that he didn't want to put down. Other candidates passed by him one after another. Leorio never dreamed that these guys were so physically strong. In order to participate in this test, he even went through special physical training and originally thought that he should be quite strong. But I didn't expect to be the last one in the team. Give it to me. Suddenly, a familiar voice sounded beside him. Panting and feeling that his physical strength was about to collapse, Leorio looked at it blankly. Liku ran beside him. I said, give me your suitcase. Although I don't know what's in it, it should be very important to you. I'll take it for you. Follow up, Leorio, you are definitely not a man who will lose here. Liku took his box. Yes, Brother Ku, my dream is to become a hunter and never lose to anyone. Damn it. Lurio looked at Liku gratefully, and then ran wildly with sweat as if he had suddenly taken a strong medicine. Hey. Leorio, the road ahead is still long, but remember to maintain your physical strength and pay attention to your breathing rhythm. Liku's words almost made Leorio fall to the ground. I understand, Brother Ku. Thank you so much. Brother Ku, stop talking. Keep your breathing rhythm. Otherwise, your physical strength will be disrupted. Liku reminded, I don't know how far I ran, but this process is definitely very abnormal. More than 100 kilometers. As a time traveler, Liku has to sigh. The average standard of human physical fitness in the hunter world is definitely higher than the ordinary world where he lived in his previous life. The guy who can persist here would definitely be a full marathon champion in his previous life. And Gon, Killua, Kurapika, Hisoka, these perverts didn't even shed a drop of sweat. Leorio even took off his clothes and ran sweating. The gap between people is still very large. Of course, Liku is extremely relaxed. Super endurance gold, endurance blue, speed gold, etc. With the blessing of these terms, Liku's endurance has also reached the abnormal level. In the previous battle, Brother Liku was really strong. The chatterbox Killua has already integrated into the team, or he is naturally attracted to Gon's presence. He looked at Liku with a trace of awe. Of course, Brother Ku is the strongest man on our whale island. Gon said proudly, here we are. Finally here. Leorio was so moved that he almost cried. This damn passage has finally reached the end. A staircase has appeared in front. After everyone climbed the stairs, they finally saw a ray of light falling. Chapter 13, Copy Hunter Liku. In front of us is an extremely open wetland plain. The air is shrouded in white mist, and the layers of emerald green mountains and trees can be vaguely seen in the distance. Welcome to the Shamaila wetland, which is also known as the Swindler's Nest. Many of the rare birds and animals living in the wetlands in this area feed on humans. They are cunning and greedy. Please be extra careful. This is the only way to the second test venue. Once you fall into the trap, your life will be in danger. The creatures in this wetland will deceive their prey and capture them for food by any means. This is an ecosystem composed of creatures that use deception and hunting as a means. If there are candidates who want to quit, can they still choose now? But once you step in, you will be responsible for any life safety. The examiner with a mustache faced everyone and explained expressionlessly, "It is impossible to quit at this time. Those who can run here are those who want to become professional hunters. How can you give up easily after running an ultra-long marathon of more than 100 kilometers? Liar. He is a liar. He is lying." Suddenly, a hoarse roar came from a distance. Everyone looked in the direction of the sound. They saw a short-haired man with injuries all over his body, walking with difficulty, holding a monkey-like monster in his hand. The man pointed at the examiner and roared angrily, "He is a fake. He is not the examiner at all. I am the real examiner here." The sudden incident made all the candidates present a little confused. Gon, Killua, Leorio, Kurapika, and others were also stunned. Even Hisoka, Hanzo, and others were stunned. This guy is a human-faced ape living in this wetland plain. The human-faced ape likes to eat human flesh, but because of its slender and weak hands and feet, it has to pretend to be a human, lead humans to the wetland, and then join forces with other creatures to hunt. His goal is to catch all the candidates who have gathered to participate in the hunter test. The injured man spoke coherently and was very angry. The emotions and performance were all at their maximum. As soon as he finished speaking, a figure flew up. The fish-killing knife flashed by. Puff! A streak of blood appeared between the guy's eyebrows, and then the whole person cracked directly like a ripe fruit. After his body fell, his appearance changed rapidly. It suddenly turned into the monster ape he was dragging in his hand. Ape. Name: ape items. Shapeshift, blue. Imitation, blue. Man-eating flesh, green. Ding. You killed the Warcraft ape and randomly looted the item of this species. Ding. Congratulations on obtaining Shapeshift, blue. Man-eating flesh, green. Ding. You choose to give up eating human flesh, green, and automatically exchange it for Shapeshift, purple, experience points. It is detected that you have Shapeshift, purple. It automatically absorbs Shapeshift, blue. The growth of this term is increased. A voice like the sound of nature rang in Liku's mind. The sudden attack stunned all the candidates present, especially Hisoka, who was holding the cards and preparing to attack, couldn't help but raise his eyebrows slightly. Ga. The ape, who was originally dragged in his hand and pretending to be dead, screamed in fear and wanted to escape. But the fish-killing knife flashed. It was bled directly. Ding. Congratulations on plundering the terms Shapeshift, blue, and Imitation, blue. Ding. It is detected that you have Shapeshift, purple. It automatically absorbs Shapeshift, blue. The growth of this term is increased. Comfortable. Lika couldn't help but secretly feel happy in his heart. Imitation, blue, is one of the abilities of the ape. It has to be said, the attributes of these monsters are essentially much stronger than humans, especially the monsters with specific abilities, which are nothing more than too low intelligence. Of course, it is also because the human base is too large. Although most ordinary people only have white and green entries, there are also purple, gold, and even red entries. As a result, the entire world is still occupied by humans. But for Liku, these modes are the best materials. Perfect. If imitation can be raised to purple or even red, can it become a copy hunter like Kakashi? Liku's sudden rampage made the other candidates present speechless. Before they could react, Liku had already resolved the crisis. Even a mustache examiner Saditz couldn't help but be shocked. Wow, so awesome. Brother Ku, so awesome. Responding, Gon shouted excitedly. Can you actually see through the other party's disguise in an instant? Brother Liku, so strong. Killua also muttered absent-mindedly. Leorio was even more confused. How did you tell this? That guy just now seemed like a real examiner. What's really amazing is Brother Ku's courage. If that guy is really an examiner and attacks the examiner head-on, he will be disqualified from the exam, not to mention that it's a fatal injury. Kurapika looked calm, but was also surprised in his heart. Not only him, Hisoka and the nail-headed man couldn't help but look sideways, and Hanzo, the funny guy, had a horrified expression. Sugoi kept yelling. At least at that moment, They couldn't tell whether this guy was real or fake. Toilet God of War Hisoka even planned to cover the attack. Regardless of whether it's real or fake, attack them all once. As long as it's a real examiner, he can naturally take his attack. And a human-faced ape is a very weak monster and can't resist it at all. But I didn't expect it. Liku is even more direct than himself, and his attack is a fatal attack. But he didn't intend to attack the mustache. That is to say, at the moment of choosing the target to attack, the opponent has directly judged the truth or falsehood. This judgment stunned the 3 boss-level players, Hisoka, Ilmi the Nail-Headed Man, and Hanzo. Great! You are the most courageous candidate I have ever seen, and this judgment is admirable. Sadits with a mustache also praised. Thank you. Then can the assessment continue? Liku smiled elegantly. The corpse of the human-faced ape next to him soon attracted some monster vultures to eat the corpse. This scene made many candidates present look at each other in surprise. It seems that everyone can see that if they die here, they may become the fate of this human-faced ape in the future. Okay, everyone, these are just some side dishes. The fog in this wetland plain is very heavy. Please follow me closely. Examiner Sadits took a big step forward again, but this time was different. The thick fog blocked everyone's vision. As long as they kept a certain distance from the examiner, they could hardly see the figure in front. In addition, everyone was not familiar with the terrain here, and soon the whole team disappeared in the fog. Everyone thought they were following the examiner, but in fact, they were scattered in all directions by various strange monsters. Liku was in a very good mood at this time. He strode directly into the fog. Here, for him, it is the real paradise. Chapter 14, this is the buffet restaurant. Liku, who has the entry system, can see the entries of these monsters from a distance. Even if they seem to be well camouflaged, almost no one doubts the green grass under his feet. Name, Lazy Frog entries, camouflage blue, tough shield, blue, big mouth blue, toxin green, omnivore green, etc. The lazy frog not far away is a special kind of monster that moves very slowly and relies entirely on Hunter to come to the door automatically. This guy has grown his mouth very big in the plains. It is almost invisible with its camouflage ability, because the size of the mouth is too amazing and the range of opening is also very terrifying. Often when people find something wrong, they can no longer escape. Unfortunately, it fell into Liku's eyes. The conspicuous blue entry is like a guiding light in the fog. It guides Liku over. Hey, you guy over there, do you want to join our team? Are you also a lost person? If we don't unite, we can't get out of this damn place. I think this should be the reason why they set up the examination room. The voices of other candidates suddenly came from the other side of the fog. The other party seemed to have noticed Liku's direction. We have a master in our team. Does the guy over there want to join? Another person called out, but as soon as the voice fell, they felt that something was wrong and the ground began to shake. The originally flat ground quickly turned into a V shape. A big mouth appeared from below. Lazy frog. Help! Woo! What is that? A green-haired girl among the unlucky ones widened her eyes and exclaimed. They only saw a figure in the mist falling rapidly from midair towards them. The target is the lazy frog. Are you crazy? This guy, is he coming to save us? Is it the same as delivering food? Looking at the figure falling from the sky, the unlucky candidates were stunned. The lazy frog is also a famous monster in this wetland plain. It has thick skin and flesh, and ordinary weapons are difficult to pierce. This guy wants to be a hero and fight this giant monster with his bare hands. What's the difference between this and delivering food? Get out of here, the green-haired girl exclaimed, and she and the unlucky ones before were swallowed by the lazy frog and the ground. The figure that jumped high was Liku. The strong muscles were like a nimble cheetah. A simple deliberate punch. Twist the waist and miss the body. The muscles all over his body began to move crazily towards his arm like insects. The whole arm seemed to expand slightly at this moment. Super strength gold. Boom, a solid punch hit the top of the lazy frog's head. It was like a dull sound, like a giant hammer hitting the ground. Then it was accompanied by a deep scream. The lazy frog's entire hill-like head and huge mouth were blown up. Scarlet broken flesh and blood splashed everywhere. The unlucky guys who had just been swallowed and were already extremely desperate were dumbfounded on the spot. There was still some smelly mucus on their bodies. Several people looked dumbfounded at Lee Ku, who fell not far away. There was also a lazy frog under their feet whose half of the head was blown off, leaving only half of the body. Gulu, what happened just now? This monster is dead, killed by a punch. Too powerful. They felt like they were dreaming, but the pain of the lazy frog gastric juice burning their skin woke them up. Hurry up and wipe off the gastric juice on your body. Otherwise, you will get hurt, someone exclaimed. Several people also wiped the gastric acid off their bodies frantically. Thanks, Where's that person just now? Thank you. The green-haired girl stared blankly at Li Ku's disappearing back, muttering absent-mindedly. Ding. Congratulations on killing the lazy frog. Random looting entries. Ding. Congratulations on obtaining camouflage. Blue. Terrain. Blue. A sound like the sound of nature rang in Li Ku's mind. He instantly realized that countless information and energy were pouring into his limbs. Item. Camouflage. Blue. Effect. You'll have the ability to change color and camouflage, and you can hide yourself in any environment item. Terran Slaughter. Blue. Effect. Your physique will become stronger, and your defense and resistance will be improved. Two very good items. Although they are both blue, they are much better than ordinary blue items. These are all items dropped by monsters, especially camouflage, which is impossible for humans to drop. This is really my paradise. Quick gold. Li Ku, who saw the monster, did not stop at all and left quickly. Help! Help! Monster! Monster! Ahead, a group of unlucky people were trapped by several turtles that were as big as hills, and some were even held in their mouths. With a snap, the shit was bitten out, and the whole person was swallowed by the giant turtle. The monsters here really kill people. Every year, hunter assessments have death quotas. The few unlucky guys who were trapped were even more desperate, surrounded by white mist and the elusive, murderous strawberry turtle. Some of them tried to rush out, but it didn't work. These huge turtles have extremely sharp and strong limbs, and their thick tortoise shells are covered with red and delicious strawberries. They look harmless, but their bite force can even crush a car on the spot. Bang! Just when these unlucky guys were terrified and desperate, a figure passed by like lightning. It hit the strawberry turtle's head accurately. Then, in their eyes that were horrified and shocked to the point of being unable to speak, they looked at the huge, thick-skinned strawberry turtle whimpering and falling down. It was not until this huge body fell in front of them that they could clearly see that the strawberry turtle's head had been completely blown up. God, did the gods save us? Great! Oh my God, what just happened? Several unlucky people stood there dumbfounded, crying with joy. And the human-shaped lightning Li Ku was still shuttling quickly in a wetland plain, like a cheetah foraging for food. Here it is. This is his buffet restaurant. Ding. Congratulations on killing the murderous strawberry turtle. Ding. Random entry plunder. Congratulations on obtaining growing strawberry. Blue. Ding. Congratulations on killing the murderous strawberry turtle. Ding. Random entry plunder. Congratulations on obtaining longevity. Blue. Super thick shell. Blue. Ding. Automatic entry. Growing strawberry. Blue. Super thick shell. Blue. Merged into super longevity. Purple. Chapter 15 Super Copy Gold. It turns out that longevity purple has appeared. Li Ku was pleasantly surprised. The entries looted by the system can be exchanged if they are not needed, or used to promote the progress of other entries. There are two possibilities for the exchange progress. One is to merge the same entry, and the lower-level entry can be replaced with the progress of the upper-level entry, such as Great Strength, Blue, can be absorbed by Giant Strength, Purple, or the same type of affinity. The other is that all the entries are looted from the same creature, and all the looted entries can be integrated into one main entry. Entry. Longevity. Purple. Effect. You will get an extra 100 years of life. Li Ke couldn't help but be overjoyed when he saw this entry. A purple entry can give him an extra 100 years of life, which he can accumulate by just killing a few strawberry turtles. But for Mandarin, this is almost impossible to achieve. Even Netero, who symbolizes the ultimate level of human beings, can only live for more than 200 years. That's all. This is my paradise. Li Ke laughed wildly in his heart. He quickly looked for other monsters. The wetland plain was filled with fog, but those dazzling monster entries were like guiding lights in the dark, guiding Li Ke forward. Ding! You killed the bluffing crow and randomly looted the entry, false voice blue. Ding! You killed the mind mushroom and randomly looted the entry, spore reproduction, blue. This entry was disliked by you and automatically crushed in exchange for entry experience points. Ding! You killed the mind mushroom and randomly looted the entry, fast regeneration, blue. Ding! You killed the hypnotic butterfly and randomly looted the entry, cocoon, blue. This entry was automatically crushed. Ding! You killed, one after another. Sounds like the sound of nature rang out. At this moment, Li had already transformed into a predator in the wetland plain. The corpses of these monsters fell one after another wherever he passed. After all, these things are used to assess ordinary professional hunter players. So the difficulty is not great, but many of the items he carries are very good. In addition, the number of items in this plane is quite considerable. For Li Ke, whose items can be infinitely superimposed and synthesized, it is simply tailor-made. Li Ke, who has the gold of haste, moves swiftly in this fog like a ghost. Half an hour later, he has cleared most of the monsters in the nearby area. And the results are also very amazing. Item: longevity species, gold, from strawberry turtle. Effect: lifespan increases by an additional 400 years. Currently has longevity species double gold. Item: super copy, gold, from shape shift, purple plus super mimicry, purple plus false voice, purple plus camouflage color, purple and other fusions effect. You can almost perfectly disguise the target that people are trying to disguise, including monsters, and your breath and temperament can be disguised. Except for thoughts, it is almost impossible to be discovered, and you can copy the opponent's martial arts in the fastest time. Item: super speed regeneration, purple, mind mushroom, effect. In addition to fatal injuries such as brain and heart, your cells have the ability to quickly differentiate and regenerate, which will consume your own physical strength. Li Ke feels his brand new body. Longevity species, double gold. With a cumulative lifespan of 800 years, lifespan is a bit illusory, but Li Ke can also clearly feel the changes in his body. More energetic and vibrant. Super copy, gold. This entry is definitely a pleasant surprise. Li Ke did not expect that the entries he had obtained from the ape, the lazy frog, and the bluffing crow would be reassembled by the system to form a new entry. Or in fact, these entries belong to the same category. It was just an accidental triggering of the feature. It is equivalent to a simplified version of the Sharingan, but with the super copy effect. Li Ke can transform himself into anyone at any time. As long as you don't use telekinesis to check, you will never notice any difference, whether it is the voice, demeanor, temperament, or appearance. And super copy can be similar to the copy Neen effect of Kaden, as long as the fighting moves seen by Li Ke can be copied in the fastest time. Absolutely a super surprise. Also revealed is super speed regeneration, purple, which comes from those mushrooms. It must be said that the reproductive capacity of mushrooms far exceeds that of any other species. Li Ke, who has this entry, can also make himself regenerate at super speed. As for the extraordinary reproduction, forget it. Li Ke directly took out the fish-killing knife and cut a cut on his arm, but not even a few drops of blood flowed out. The wound healed quickly at a speed visible to the naked eye. In the end, there was not even a scar. Perfect. This is simply an inhuman body, with such a perfect body and an incredibly amazing lifespan. Li Ke has no reason not to reach the pinnacle of humanity. No other. Hee. There's a little ghost here. Boy, your luck is very bad. You met a few of us brothers. You'd better withdraw from the competition. Yes, this is the words of a kind person. Don't suffer, ha ha. There was a sneer in the fog. Where there are people, there is a world of martial arts. These ordinary miscellaneous cultivators are not very powerful, but their minds are very sinister. We don't seem to know each other, right? Lika glanced at them. There are only green and white entries, and the only blue one is a useless entry. Frenzy, blue. Effect. Loss of sanity. Increase of attack power. It is a bald man with a ferocious face. I didn't know him before, but now I know him. There are only a few places for professional hunter every year. You weaklings come here to waste our time. Yeah, if we eliminate you, our pass rate will also increase. What's the point of talking so much nonsense? Kill him. There is no need for any reason to fight in such a place. Lika sighed lightly. Several guys rushed over with sticks and knives. There is no need to worry about being discovered if you kill people here. Not to mention that there are these monsters to clean up the bodies. The killing intention of the miscellaneous cultivators is disgusting. A perfect arc of knife light flashed. These miscellaneous cultivators kept a grinning expression, and their movements stopped abruptly. Then their heads rolled off their necks with a click. Blood gushed out like a fountain. Ding! You killed the miscellaneous cultivator, looted the entry, reckless, white, automatically crushed. Ding! The entry of the miscellaneous cultivator is no longer red. Ding! You looted the entry, frenzy, blue, automatically crushed. Voices rang out one after another. Helpless. Snapped suddenly. The sound of applause rang out from the distance of the fog. A blurred figure slowly walked towards the immediate direction. What an amazing swordsmanship, killing with one blow. It's simply perfect. Chapter 16, Liku versus. Hisoka Liku narrowed his eyes slightly and saw the person in front of him clearly. Hisoka, the enchanting and sexy red-haired girl. His eyes were burning as he looked at Liku, as if he was appreciating an extremely exquisite work of art. It was as if he was checking his prey fruit. It really surprised me. I thought that little guy was a rare and delicious fruit, but later I found out that you were the target of my dream. Hisoka stared at Liku, licking his lips with a perverted arc at the corner of his mouth. Liku also stared at him. It's just the entries on him. Name, Hisoka entries. Super intuition, red. Conjurer telekinesis master, gold. Physical genius, gold. Sadomasochism, purple, etc. What a good prey. Liku also became excited. The excitement in his eyes made Hisoka stunned. This was an unprecedented feeling. For the first time, he found that his prey was not afraid of him, and even looked at him with eyes that were so familiar and uncomfortable. What kind of feeling is this? Hisoka frowned slightly. A ray of light flashed, and he understood in an instant. Yes, prey. The other party looked at him with the same burning feeling as looking at prey. What's going on? This guy? He actually thought of himself as prey? Ha ha. This is definitely the funniest joke in the world. Super strength, gold. Speed, gold. Natural assassin, gold. Passive, Zoldyck assassination, gold. Limb flexion, in an instant. Lika disappeared from a spot. The smile on Hisoka's face froze, and his figure moved like a ghost. Bang in the fog 2 meters away. The two figures fought head-on. Both sides were extremely fast, and the whole fight was just a moment. Hisoka blocked Liku's fist with his palm, but he was shocked after he missed it. The severe pain from his palm even made him feel like he was hit hard by a sledgehammer. This guy is too strong. In a hurry, he habitually used tricks to tease others, which resulted in almost complete paralysis of his right palm. Before Hisoka could react, Liku, who did not land, bounced back like a spring, and again. Charge punch. This time Hisoka did not dare to hold it with one hand, and could only cross his arms to resist. Boom! The amazing force instantly knocked Hisoka out, and his legs dragged on the grass for nearly 10 meters before he stopped. But Hisoka felt that his arms were almost broken. So strong. The fruit he had set his eyes on was unexpectedly strong, and it was too perfect. He was just a teenager, but he could burst out such amazing power. This level of strength is even more amazing than that of a normal power-based professional hunter. You have to know that this kid has no ability to use telekinesis at all. Liku, who has endurance, gold, doesn't care about this consumption at all. Once the battle falls into his rhythm, the opponent will only be greeted by a storm of attacks. Another amazing fist fell again. At this moment, Hisoka finally changed color. Boom, he was hit again, but Liku's fist smashed through it, and it turned out to be a phantom. The fist fell on the grass, and a large pit with a diameter of 2 or 3 meters exploded in an instant. Liku also stopped moving. Hisoka's voice had already appeared in the distance of the mist, and was even getting farther and farther away. Interesting, little guy. You are worthy of being the delicacy I care about the most, but now is not the time to taste you. I look forward to you becoming more delicious. That is the exciting moment. Hisoka's figure disappeared in the mist. Liku slowly loosened his fist, his face calm. Ding! You and Hisoka have entered the battle posture. Ding! The system determines that you have defeated the opponent, and there is a 10% probability to automatically copy the opponent's entry. Ding! Copy failed, Good luck. You escaped quite quickly. Hisoka. Liku sneered. The system determined that the opponent was defeated in this game. But in fact, if the two sides fought to the death, Liku was sure to take down Hisoka, but the price he paid would definitely not be small. After all, he is still a pure physical skill master and cannot use telekinesis. But as long as he can open the aura nodes and awaken telekinesis, even if you stack the telekinetic power of various professional hunters, then you don't need other simple telekinetic power to oppress yourself. You can definitely make Hisoka kneel in front of you. Or destroy the whole brigade. Those terms, Hisoka, your good days are not many. You must cherish them. Liku sneered in his heart and turned away. For hours later, the end of the wetland. Boom! The two strawberry turtles ended their lives under Liku's heavy punch, and once again gave him a longevity, purple, and turtle shell term. So strong. Brother Ku, you are just like a monster. Leorio and Kurapika, who were rescued, were shocked. They had no way to deal with these giant monsters, but they had no power to resist in front of Liku. Killed with one blow. Brother Ku is awesome. Gon's eyes lit up. Killua didn't speak, but was surprised in his heart. The end area of this wetland plain is getting smaller and smaller, so it is normal for everyone to gather here, except for Gon and Killua, who were swallowed by the lazy frog and vomited out by Killua because of the poison. Kurapika and Leorio were surprisingly smooth, and they encountered the strawberry turtle here. Originally, they would be tested by Hisoka, but this time, the other party was very quiet after testing Liku. In fact, this is also a normal test content. As long as ordinary candidates can survive these strange monsters through this plane, they will pass the level successfully. For Liku's team, there is no difficulty at all. Examiner Sadits and a large number of candidates are already waiting in front. What appeared in front of everyone was a fortress-like manor, because Liku spent a lot of time to kill those monsters along the way. Including Gon, he arrived quite late. Now, there are only a little over 100 candidates who have arrived here. Thank you for your hard work. You have safely crossed the wet, mellow plain. This is Biscayne Forest Park, the second test site. The new examiner will be in charge of this game. I sincerely hope that you can pass the next test smoothly. Goodbye, everyone. Sadits with a mustache smiled and bowed, slightly like a gentleman. Then he walked away with a big step without recognizing any relatives, and the gate of the solemn manor in front of him slowly opened. The situation inside was also exposed to everyone. Chapter 17. Can you take this punch that takes 16 years of hard work? Lika glanced at the crowd. Almost all those who could reach here were the elite among the elite. Those green and white miscellaneous cultivators were basically eliminated, and everyone had at least one blue entry. But after a glance, they were all pretty useless. If all the candidates present were eliminated, maybe a purple one could be created. But this was definitely not a good deal for Liku, where he could choose to attack the three giants present. Hisoka, the nail-headed man, and Hanzo. Well, thank you. Thank you for saving me before. I'm Peng Si. Thank you very much. Suddenly, a crisp and weak female voice in the crowd interrupted Liku's thoughts. It was the girl with green hair and a big hat who walked up to him and thanked him with a red face. Huh, me? Liku was a little surprised. He didn't remember having any contact with this girl. Peng Si, in his memory, it seemed that her fate in the later period was quite miserable, and she died in the turmoil of the Chimera ants. When did he save her? No impression. It was because you killed the lazy frog with one punch at the lazy frog wetland that I was able to survive. I will definitely repay you for this kindness. Peng Si bowed deeply to Li Ku. If it weren't for Li Ku, she wouldn't have passed the first test, let alone the chance to stand here. Maybe she would have been digested into feces by the lazy frog. Oh, that's it. You're welcome. It's just a piece of cake. Lika suddenly realized that it was probably that he accidentally saved it when he was killing monsters. Killed the lazy frog with one punch? Is that true? You're bragging. That thing is so huge, and it has thick skin and flesh. Even ordinary swords can't kill it. How could it be killed with one punch? Are these two guys bragging here on purpose? Ha, it's really funny. Peng Si's words attracted the laughter of several nearby contestants. They looked at Li Ku with contempt. Ah, but what greeted them was Li Ku's fist. The examinee who laughed the most fiercely. He was hit by Li Ku's punch. The whole person instantly flew backwards at least 100 meters like a missile. He scratched a bottomless gully in the dense bushes behind him, and it was unknown whether he was alive or dead. Li Ku wiped his smoking fist, raised his eyebrows, and looked at the people who laughed at him. Then can you take my 16-year-old punch? I was always submissive on Whale Island because they were my family. I don't kill people in the outside world. Wouldn't it be a waste of time to travel through time? Of course, this punch won't kill him. It will only cost him half of his life. Li Ku still restrained himself. Otherwise, he wouldn't even have the chance to fly backwards, and he would explode into a blood mist on the spot. He swept his eyes over the other people who just laughed at him. Instantly, those guys trembled violently all over. Plop. Damn it. I was absolutely blind just now. I just said nonsense. Don't mind it. I give up. I give up. Whoa, I want to go home. Several guys were so scared that they peed on the spot, and some even gave up directly. There was a brief silence at the scene. Originally, there was laughter and joy, and everyone was discussing their feelings after passing the first test, and bragging and boasting. But now it suddenly became silent, and all eyes looked in the direction of Li Ku. Especially those candidates close to Li Ku took the initiative to make way. In this world, the only thing that people fear is their own strength. The most basic principle of the hunter world is that the strong are respected. Too strong. A punch can send people flying 100 meters. This is not something that ordinary people can do. At least among the candidates present, no one has such a terrifying power. You are really a monster. The fruit you picked this time seems to be a bit prickly. In the crowd, the nail-headed man turned his head like a machine and looked at Hisoka, who squinted his eyes slightly. The more delicious the fruit, the more people look forward to it. However, Hisoka had a perverted smile on his lips, and his body trembled slightly. That was not nervousness and excitement. That was excitement. He couldn't help but get excited at the thought of picking this kind of fruit or being killed in this way. Just then, a charming but confident young woman's voice came from the manor. All candidates who have successfully passed the first test, please come in. Welcome everyone. I am the examiner Menchi of the second test. I am Bahara. The one who spoke was the young examiner Menchi, who is sitting in the examiner's seat, wearing a bra outside, with a green starfish five-pointed star hairstyle and legs crossed. Behind him was the fat deputy examiner Bahara, who looked silly but was nearly 3 meters tall. The two began to announce the content of this assessment. Because they are all food hunters, the content of this assessment is to hunt pigs in the forest of the manor, then make these ingredients into delicious food. And when you get the consent of the two examiners at the same time, you can pass the assessment. This test question made everyone dumbfounded. Originally, everyone was ready to come here to do a big job, but they never thought that they would become like chefs. But no one was stupid enough to object here. So everyone, there is no limit to the types of pigs. As long as you can make delicious food that satisfies us, you will pass. The ingredients you want to get are in the Biscayne forest behind you. The fat man Bahara slapped his belly heavily, making a sound like beating a drum. The people who heard this sound immediately swarmed out. Liku, Gon, and others also left. Sadits, that guy's the guy you said who performed very well in the first round of tests. He seems to be very ordinary, except that he is slightly handsome. Examiner Min Shi, who crossed her legs and sat down confidently, said disdainfully. She was communicating with the headset. In the first round of assessment, no. 406 defeated 12 candidates within 1 minute and did not show any physical exhaustion after the ultra-long run and was intact after leaving the wetland plain. Even just now, this guy defeated another candidate at the door of one of you. I'm afraid his strength has reached the level of professional hunter. Sadits, hiding in the treetops, looked in the direction of Liku and others with a telescope, a little worried. Don't worry, this kind of thing has happened before. Every year there are some geniuses, but in the end, they all fail the test. Minchi said confidently, but this time it won't work. You can't lower the pass rate too much. Minchi, Bahala, Sadits said worriedly. Whether they can survive is a problem. Those pigs are not something that ordinary people can handle, hee. Bahala smiled. I understand. We are food hunters, so we will naturally make fair comments on food. Minchi waved his hand. At this moment, in Biscayne Forest, all candidates have already rushed in. Chapter 18. Sorry, I'm the one who bought it all, everyone. Lika suddenly blocked everyone's way. Boy, you. Hey, big brother, what do you mean? Little ghost, are you gonna? Boss Ku, don't mind. My brother Shabi can't speak. Please speak directly. We will listen to your command. The sudden blocking of the road almost caused public outrage. But after seeing Li Ku's terrifying punching power, all the candidates present became a little honest. Although some guys looked at Li Ku with very unhappy eyes. For example, wrestler Takuto or Greta with a blowgun seemed to be thinking about how to kill Li Ku. But because they had just seen Li Ku's recent strength at the gate, no one wanted to be the first to speak. They could only wait patiently for Li Ku to speak. Gon and others were extremely nervous because Li Ku's behavior was no different, so he offended the public. Ahem, I've heard of this Biscayne forest before. There is actually only one kind of pig here, which is very difficult for ordinary candidates to deal with. I only have one request. That is, please tell me as soon as you find this monster pig, and I will help you subdue it. If someone kills this monster pig on their own initiative, it means they don't listen to my words. If they don't understand my words, then I will have to teach them with my fists. Okay, everyone, the happy hunting begins. Remember my kind reminder. Lika clenched his fists. Charge punch. Super strength gold. Boom, a big pit with a diameter of 5 meters exploded under his feet. This sudden move instantly frightened all the candidates present pale. Even Takuto, Greta, and others who were eager to try were like eggplants hit by frost. Like quails, they locked their heads. Damn, is this human strength? If this punch landed on a person, wouldn't it be instantly beaten into blood foam? Don't worry, sir. We will definitely follow your arrangements. Yes, Mr. Ku. Hello, Mr. K. We will never disobey you and will inform you as soon as possible. Mr. Ku is awesome. It turns out that Mr. Ku is doing this for our own good. This forest is too dangerous. Mr. Ku is such a good man. Sure enough, he is very easy to talk to wherever his fist is big. Most of the candidates are very polite to Li Ku. Some even call him Mr. Ku. Of course, people like Hisoka and the nail-headed man will naturally not care about what Li Ku says. But it doesn't matter. At least it can guarantee that most of the pigs in the entire forest will be killed by themselves. Brother Ku, what are you doing? Gon and the others were also confused. You will know when you see this monster pig. I just don't want some innocent people to die in this world. Li Ku sighed with emotion, and the words, worrying about the country and the people, were almost written on his face. Mr. Ku, Mr. K, help me. Suddenly, a candidate screamed in the distance. Everyone immediately looked in the direction of the sound. They saw a wild boar for food behind this guy. But the moment they saw the pig, these candidates no longer had any idea of hunting for food, only one thought. Run. It was as high as a floor, red all over, and had a huge nose with fangs like an elephant. It broke the trees along the way. It rumbled and rushed over, just like a tank with the accelerator pressed to the bottom. It was as difficult to knock down one of these things as to pull out the front teeth of a tiger. No wonder the two dog examiners had sinister smiles on their faces when they left. The unwilling candidates wanted to attack these wild boars. But it soon turned into screams, and they were all knocked out without exception. Then they were trampled by the wild boars like a wave. They turned into meat patties on the spot. The other candidates present turned pale in an instant. At this moment, everyone understood. This devil Liku is really doing this for their own good. Mr. K, help me. Run. Damn. Frightened screams came one after another. The key to these monster pigs is that they live in groups. As soon as you provoke one, the others will rush over, just like a group of tanks rushing through the forest. No wonder there are no other monsters in this forest. There's a 99% probability that they were killed by these pigs in front of you. And not far away, you can see some corpses that have been gnawed to the bones. Damn, these guys are omnivores. They even eat people in an instant. The group of candidates who were originally excited instantly threw away their armor and ran away with their heads in their hands, screaming continuously. Run, Brother Ko. There are too many. Gon's face changed suddenly. Let's go. Killua even put down his skateboard and prepared to run away with everyone. Take care of yourselves. I'll take care of it. Liku was excited, especially after seeing the items on these guys clearly. I was even more excited. Name, Big Nose Crazy Pig. Items, great strength, blue, thick blood, blue, reckless, green, etc. It's actually great strength. Great strength is the lower level item of strange strength. So comfortable. Give me the knife. Liku took off the two knives on the examinee's waist. When he was taking the test to beat the old lady halfway up the mountain, he got swordsmanship, blue, and it was matched with his perfect fish-killing skills. This thing is not difficult at all. Go upstream. When most of the examinees were fleeing in panic, Liku rushed out of the crowd, rushed towards the rumbling group of Warcraft pigs. Swish, cross-slash, beautiful. The pig in the front was bled instantly. Perfect cross. Directly cut the opponent's hardest skull. Ding. Congratulations on killing the giant-nosed pig. Randomly loot the giant strength, blue, entry. Detect that you have a superior entry, super strength gold. Automatically fill in the experience value. A warm energy poured into Liku's limbs and bones. This is the effect of super strength being amplified. Even if they are both gold entries, the effects are completely different due to different progress. There are so many entries in front of me. It's so cool. Liku didn't give in at all and rushed into the herd of monster pigs. The two swords chopped down crazily. One by one, the monster pigs screamed and wailed and fell down. The strong inertia made their bulky bodies rush more than 10 meters before stopping. But the other candidates couldn't help but gasp after seeing the neat wounds. Even the hardest spine and skull were cut open neatly. It's so scary. In the end, the blade broke. It turned into a fist beating. Boom! A dull collision sound that made people's scalps numb sounded. Along with the sound of bones breaking, there were also the sounds of wild boars groaning and screaming. The whole area fell into a strange silence. All the candidates present seemed to be enjoying a visual feast. Everyone looked at Li Ku's performance with almost dull expressions. Bare hands exploded more than 100 Warcraft wild boars. In Li Ku, the entries also kept ringing like a pot of boiling water. Chapter 19, Divine Power Red. Iron Tank Gold Wu, the last wild boar fell under Li Ku's iron fist. The scene has become a pile of wild boar corpses. Li Ku stood on the pile of corpses, his body stained with blood. It was as terrifying as the world-class demon god. The scene was dead silent. Everyone stood there blankly, feeling like they were dreaming. There were 100 or 2 wild boars. All of them were killed. Some candidates had tried to fight this thing alone before, but all of them failed without exception. These wild boars not only have amazing defense, but also terrible collision force. Unless you find the opponent's weakness, you can't resist it at all. But in such a short time, it is unrealistic to find the opponent's weakness. But now, these arrogant wild boars have all turned into corpses and fell here. One person slaughtered the entire pig farm. So awesome. Peng Si was stunned. Her mind was full of the image of Liku standing on the mountain of wild boar corpses. Even Hisoka and the nail-headed man changed their expressions slightly. This guy has extraordinary endurance. The nail-headed man, Ilmi, sighed. The smile on Hisoka's face has become much lighter. For the first time, he actually felt a deep sense of oppression on the prey. It even gave him an illusion. The identities of the hunter and the prey are being exchanged. Gon, Liurio, Killua, and Karapika were also staring blankly, with incredible expressions on their faces. But at this time, Liku was extremely happy. Ding! Giant strength, blue, automatically crushes and fuses. Congratulations on your super strength, gold, being upgraded. Ding! Super strength, gold, is upgraded to God strength, red, entry. God strength, red, description. You'll have the terrifying power of a god. Ding! Thick blood, blue, automatically crushes and fuses. Congratulations on obtaining. Iron plate tank, gold. Entry. Iron plate tank, gold, description. Your defense and health are greatly improved. Unprecedented strength. Even Li Ku felt his blood boiling. Slightly clenched his fist. He even felt a hot texture surging from the blood vessels in his fist. All the muscle cells in his body were trembling. Divine power red. This punch. Will you die? In addition, the appearance of Iron Plate Tank Gold. Li Ku's defense and health reached an inhuman level. Even if he fell on the spot, ordinary blades could not cut his body. It is equivalent to the copper skin effect in the novel. It's a pity that the blood bar can't be seen now. If you can see it, you will find that Li Ku's blood bar is like a vernier caliper. It's so dense. With this level of defense and HP, there is no pressure in a 1v9 team battle. Comfortable. Unprecedented comfort. This is definitely a super blood prophet. Hunter assessment is the real holy place for scoring. Li Ku was very excited. Standing on the pile of corpses, he glanced and easily found Hisoka and the nail-headed man in the crowd. And the funny Hanzo was looking stunned. Li Ku smiled slightly in the direction of Hisoka. The smile on the latter's mouth gradually disappeared, replaced by solemnity. He smiled at you. The nail-headed man was a little surprised. Yeah, haha. Things are really getting more and more interesting. Hisoka retracted his gaze and smiled faintly. A gleam of brilliance flashed in the depths of his eyes. Everyone, take the ingredients here. Li Ku jumped off the wild boar pile and shouted. Awesome. Mr. Ku. Mr. Ku is awesome. Mr. Ku, I owe you a big favor. If you need me in the future, please let me know. Too strong. Mr. Ku, you will definitely pass the test this time. The candidates present were also scolded and began to flatter. Just kidding. Anyone with a little bit of brains will know that Li Ku in front of them is definitely a player of the same level as them. Those who can get here are not stupid. At least they don't think they're stronger than more than 100 wild boars. But many people are sad. I don't know whether it is lucky or unfortunate to be a classmate with Li Ku. In the manner, Menshi and Bahara are chatting with interest. Menshi, regardless of whether I can pass or not, I'm already very hungry. You must let me eat meat first. You guys, a qualified food hunter will only taste the best food. It's good enough if 1/3 of the people can pass this time. Yes, the big-nosed mad pig is a very powerful monster. But Sadit's exclamation soon came from the headset. Although this guy was the examiner of the first round, he still hid in the treetops and watched the situation with a telescope. Of course, he did not step into the forest. It would be very embarrassing if he was exposed at that time. Menshi, Bahara, the situation seems to be a little different from what was expected. Those guys seem to have found food. Sadit's surprised voice came from the headset. Menshi and the fat man Bahara were stunned. They saw that the examinees were excited, and each of them carried the big-nosed mad pig back. These monster pigs looked quite miserable. Some were killed by swords, and some seemed to have been killed by a heavy hammer-like weapon. But the problem is, all the candidates got the ingredients. This scene was really weird, because in the prediction of the two examiners, there was a high probability that only 1/3 of the candidates would get the ingredients. Most of them would be eliminated by those wild boars. But now, all passed. In particular, he paid special attention to a few particularly weak guys. With their strength, it is absolutely impossible to defeat this level of monsters. Could it be that these guys picked up the corpses in the forest? Half an hour ago, Bahara and I went to check those magics, and they were in very good condition. Damn it, Minchi couldn't help but twitch the corners of her mouth. But due to the obligations of the examiner, she still reminded all the candidates who got the ingredients to prepare to start cooking. The question of this exam was very simple, which was to make a roasted pig that satisfied both examiners. As more and more candidates came, she also heard a lot of words. Is it him? This guy actually solved all the porcupines in the forest. Minchi finally figured out the situation and looked in Li Ku's direction with his eyelids twitching violently. This kid, he ruined my good deeds. As if noticing that someone was staring at him, Li Ku looked over instinctively and saw the irritable green-haired beauty examiner. After seeing the other party's entry clearly, he couldn't help but shine. Name: Chief Examiner Minchi entry. Gourmet, purple, none 100 flowers blade wheel, realization system. Blue, swordsmanship mastery. Blue, physical skills. Blue, others chapter 20 my plate of 9-turn large intestines. Sir, purple gourmets can improve food appreciation and cooking skills. It belongs to the life-related terms. What really makes Li Ku excited is the other party's blue terms. None 100 flower blade wheel, realization system. Blue, although it is only blue, it is a genuine nun, a manifestation system. So far, Li Ku has not had any nun terms. Does it mean that once you get this type of terms, you can automatically open aura nodes and thus enter a new realm? Moreover, his eyes swept over. It fell on a fat man behind him, which also made Li Ku envious. Name: Deputy Examiner Bahara terms. Subgiant bloodline, blue. Enhancer telekinesis, blue. Gluttony, blue. Laziness, green, etc. This guy actually carries some giant bloodline. Of course, what really makes Li Ku look forward to is the other party's telekinesis. Enhancer telekinesis, blue. It can be said that the two examiners in front of him have the entries that Li Ku really wants to get. However, Hunter assessment sees that it is disrespectful to attack the instructor, and once there is a problem, it is very likely to lead to elimination. Forget about the license. Unless you plan to make enemies with the whole world, you should weigh it. Li Ku has not planned to fall out with the association now. According to his memory, if nothing unexpected happens, Netero will come here. Before he blasts Netero, the strongest man in the world, Li Ku thinks that he should keep the association's good impression of him. But if he can get something like telekinesis in advance, the benefits are naturally needless to say. Li Ku smiled slightly and nodded in consciousness. Continue to be busy with a roast suckling pig in his hand. This guy. Minchi retracted his gaze and snorted with some dissatisfaction. Now she can only wait patiently for these candidates to present their cooking results. Soon, some candidates have already finished cooking the roast pig. Everyone came to get a license and believed that the time to submit the task also affects the score. So everyone tried their best to rush to complete it. But it was not as Li Ku expected. All the ingredients cooked by all the candidates were rejected. Bahara saw that he did not refuse and gave all of them a pass and performed a performance of eating a pig in one bite. But Minchi, most of the opponents did not even taste it and directly gave a cross sign of failure, including Gon, Liurio, Killua, and Kurapika, who specially prepared a pork chop multi-layer burger. All were beaten by Minchi. All failed. Hisoka, the nail-headed man, and Hanzo were also eliminated. Hisoka even took out the poker cards. He has been enduring this woman for a long time. The only one left. Li Ku. Everyone's eyes fell on Li Ku. Others were busy handing in the ingredients, while Li Ku seemed to be slow. His food was even covered with a plate, but the fragrance from it made people drool. After all, he was the best at grilling fish on Whale Island, and Li Ku carried his secret seasoning with him. Needless to say, the taste is great. For a moment, many candidates stared at Li Ku, and some of the unpromising ones were drooling. I didn't expect this guy to be such a good cook. What a nice smell. I can already smell it even before I eat it. Great. I'm afraid this guy is the only one who passed this time. Oh, I'm ready to take the exam again next year. Mr. Ku is so awesome. The other candidates in the square looked at Li Ku and couldn't help but envy him. But they didn't have the confidence to fight Li Ku. There was only envy, jealousy, and fear in their hearts. Great, this is Brother Ku's secret seasoning on Whale Island. It's absolutely delicious. Gon's eyes lit up. Every time Li Ku grilled fish on Whale Island, he would come when he heard about it. Li Ku is a fish shop owner during the day and a grilled fish expert at bonfire parties at night. Karapika was also stunned. He originally thought that the pork chop burger he made before was very good, but now it is completely insignificant compared to the dish made by Li Ku. Although we can't see what Li Ku's dish is now, the fragrance alone has already made people hungry. Not bad. Although I don't know what you made, the taste of the color, aroma, and flavor is perfect. Minchi's eyes were also shining, and he looked at Li Ku with a little more expectation. It smells so good. I was full just now, but when I smelled this smell, I wanted to eat 10 pigs. But he only prepared so little, not enough for me to eat. The fat man Bahar drooled. This time I have to taste it first. You have eaten so much. Take a break, Bahara. Minchi stood up rarely and took the initiative to walk to the front, crossing his two swords on his slender waist. It seems that he is full of expectations. I didn't expect that this little guy is also good at cooking. It seems that this time, he is the only one who can pass. The nail-headed man Ilmi was curious. Hisoka narrowed his eyes slightly, wondering what he was thinking. Lika's food was finally pushed in front of the two examiners in full view of the public. Silver tableware and the tempting aroma. It makes people hungry. This is what good food should look like. Even pigs wouldn't eat what you guys make. Minchi spoke bluntly. Bahara and his ilk drooled behind him. Let me guess what's covered under this plate. The aroma smells like meat, and there's also a strange smell. This is not pork chop, nor is it hind leg meat, nor is it pork neck meat. It's a strange smell. I've cooked the big-nosed pig hundreds of times, but the taste you made is amazing. Minchi stared at the covered plate with curiosity, her beautiful eyes shining. She didn't have much interest in fighting. She was only really curious about food. Even the reason she became a hunter was purely because of her desire for food. The identity of a professional hunter allows her to easily enter any place where she wants to get ingredients. There are not only combat series people in this world, but also food hunters and even gem hunters, etc. Please tell me about your work. Candidate 406. Minchi stopped guessing. She let Li Ku reveal the answer himself. This is a local dish from our hometown, and it is also considered to be the most famous top specialty of our hometown. I've put a lot of effort into cooking this dish this time. I hope the two examiners will like it. The name of this dish is 9-turn large intestine. In order to maintain the original flavor and freshness of the ingredients, I deliberately retained a part of the original part. Please taste it, two examiners. Lika took away the tray and smiled very elegantly and gentlemanly. Chapter 21. Minchi is hot. Minchi was stunned when she saw the dish in front of her, because after Li Ku's treatment, it didn't look like a large intestine at all. Before Minchi could speak, Buhara had already pounced on it and couldn't help wanting to eat it all. Buhara! Minchi exclaimed hurriedly. She had been waiting here for a day, and finally a decent dish appeared. Although it was not clear at the moment which part of the pig this thing was made of, she must not let Bahara eat it in one bite. Minchi quickly picked up a piece of the part that Li Ku specially introduced to retain the original flavor. How to retain the original delicious taste of the big, nose-crazy pig. This made Minchi a little difficult to understand. But when a 9-turn large intestine touched the tip of the tongue and the silver teeth bit it, the strange taste exploded in the mouth instantly. Minchi realized it. It also split instantly. Grass, 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 grass. She instantly understood what the other party just said. At that moment, she even tasted the taste of poop. On Minchi's expression, the whole pretty face wrinkled together instantly, and the whole person turned red on the spot. The sudden change made all the candidates present a little confused. Bahara. FK him. Fail. Eliminate him. Too abominable. Minchi almost vomited with gritted teeth and had an impulse to die on the spot. Bahara. who was eating large intestines crazily, was very happy. But he could only stand up helplessly after hearing Minchi's words, and stretched out his palm leaf fan-sized hand to wave at Liku. The amazing power even gave people a feeling as if a pillar was sweeping across. The whirring sound of the wind instantly made several unlucky candidates next to him fly away. This fat man is so strong. The wrestler Dakudo was shocked. He originally thought that the other party was just huge in size and might be a waste with very poor mobility. But he didn't expect this terrifying sense of oppression. He had a feeling that if this palm hit him, he might be beaten into a meat pie. Too strong. Not only him, all the candidates present couldn't help but change color. It felt like Liku was finally going to be unlucky. Brother Ku, gone, Killua, and others exclaimed. And just when they wanted to help, they were shocked to see Liku hugging Bahara's giant hand. Bahara was stunned because he didn't slap the other party away as expected. Instead, he felt like he was slapping an extremely hard iron lump. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't move at all. What's going on? I'm an enhancer hunter. Bahara was a little stunned. Although he was just the most ordinary opposite SX hunter, he was an enhancer himself, and he had the blood of a giant. Even some 2-star hunters didn't dare to resist his attack head-on. Bang, the huge palm slapped Lika heavily. A visible air wave was released in the dull sound. A strong wind swept. Several candidates nearby were even more surprised that their godsons were blown away. But Liku just smiled and hugged Bahara's giant hands. Then, in the extremely shocked eyes of everyone, he swung the fat man up like a hammer. Boom, the giant Bahara was hit headfirst by Liku on the square. The amazing force directly cracked and collapsed the ground. Even the examiner Saditz, who was hiding in the distance and watching with a telescope, felt that his tree was shaking violently. His face was extremely ugly. Ding! You and Deputy Examiner Bahara entered the fighting posture. Ding! You defeated Deputy Examiner Bahara. Ding! Automatic random copying. Copying successfully. Congratulations on obtaining laziness. Green. Automatic crushing. TSK. What bad luck. Bahara. The sudden reversal also shocked Manchi, the chief examiner. Bahara was born with thick skin and great strength. At least so far, no other professional hunter could get any advantage in front of this giant guy. But now, in front of him, Bahara was knocked unconscious by a guy of ordinary size. 406. You were eliminated for openly attacking the examiner, and you deliberately fed the examiner such disgusting ingredients. I will definitely teach you a lesson. Minchi's face was also red. This was definitely the biggest insult he had received since he became a food hunter. The food made by the other party was too deceptive from the appearance. It was not until he took the first bite that he regretted it. It was definitely a conspiracy. If he didn't eat it, he would miss such a good food, and it would even be difficult to eliminate the only food that looked good in the whole venue. If he ate it, he would fall into the trap. This guy actually preserved the original feces of the big nose-mad pig in this ingredient. Just this one bite. It almost cost Minchi her life. She even wanted to replace her entire head. As soon as the voice fell, Minchi was completely flushed, and the 2 table knives on her waist fell directly into her hands. Gorgeous and beautiful knife skills almost reached the extreme. The plate in front of her and the remaining 9-turn large intestine turned directly into pieces. Wow, so powerful. Is this examiner crazy? It's over. I feel that Mr. Ku is going to be finished. Isn't this better? If Mr. Ku doesn't die, we will never get ahead, right? It seems so. The other candidates present were frightened by the sudden rampage of the chief examiner. Especially Minchi used a real telekinetic combat skill. 100 flower blade, wheel Tion. She only had 1 knife, but it seemed like she had several more in an instant. These knives looked like real ones. In fact, these knives were manifested by her telekinesis, and they also had the characteristics of blades. Liku retreated and calmly took out his fish-killing knife. Bang, 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 bang. Bang, 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 bang. Bang, 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 bang. In the stunned eyes of everyone, they were shocked to see that the speed of the 2 people's fight was like lightning. It was dazzling. Many people did not see clearly how the 2 sides attacked. but they could hear the sound of blades colliding in the air and even saw wisps of sparks bursting. Menchi, in the red temperature state, was also shocked. She originally just wanted to vent her anger and teach this BD candidate a lesson. But she didn't expect that her attacks were all taken by the opponent. Not only that, the opponent's defense was airtight. It was obviously just a knife, but it blocked the attack of 6 knives. This is simply perverted. And after the moment of fighting with the opponent, Menchi became more and more frightened. Her knife almost pulled out a knife curtain, but the opponent still defended impeccably. Could it be that she just held back? Then, don't blame yourself. Menchi's beautiful eyes flashed, and the telekinetic blades in her hand suddenly increased from 4 to 8. This is her maximum telekinetic limit. Chapter 22. Liku. I admire you too. Netero, together with her original 2 blades, there were 10 dinner knives attacking around Liku. Liku was obviously forced to take a step back. But the next moment, the opponent's knife was faster, and all the blades were blocked. Moreover, while swinging the knife with his right hand, the opponent's left hand suddenly reached into the knife curtain. You are crazy. Be careful, Menchi exclaimed. She was tricked by this guy, but she didn't want to let a candidate become disabled in her hands. She instantly disbanded the materialized telekinetic blade, and then was about to retract the physical blade. But she was shocked to see that Li Ku grabbed one of them directly, took the blade with his backhand, and knocked away his other blade. 100% barehanded to grab the white blade. The sharp dinner knife was against Menchi's neck, and even cut the skin, and a drop of blood flowed out. The whole audience was very quiet, silent. Menchi's mind was blank. She never dreamed that she would lose miserably in the swordsmanship competition. The opponent even forcibly reached his hand into her sword curtain and took away the physical blade. In the past days, she has always pursued delicious food, thinking that the training of other skills is irrelevant. Delicious food is what should be pursued in this world. Even for things like swordsmanship, she only practiced for a while and has already achieved a very good accomplishment now. Martial arts are not difficult for her, but at this moment, Menchi felt that she was completely defeated. Ding! You defeated the target examiner Menchi in the battle posture, and there is a 10% probability of copying the target entry. The system prompt sound finally sounded. Could it be that it didn't hit again? Lika's heart tightened slightly. Ding! The entry is being copied. Ding! The copy is successful. Congratulations on obtaining the entry 100 Flowers Blade Wheel Mind Realization System, Blue, and the entry is automatically merged for you. The sound like the sound of nature sounded in his mind. Lika couldn't help but be surprised. Perfect. It actually directly revealed the entry that I wanted most. This system is really good. In an instant, a strange energy surged into Li Ku's body and quickly traveled through the acupoints in his body. Then all kinds of information about the 100 Flowers Blade wheel automatically poured into Li Ku's mind. Ding! Congratulations on mastering the realization system 100 Flowers Blade Wheel. Blue. Perfect. The examination room was extremely quiet at this moment. All the candidates stared blankly at the scene in front of them. Menchi, the chief examiner, was defeated. He was defeated by a candidate, and the opponent took away the chief examiner's weapon in the most thrilling way. Of course, the main reason was that Menchi was worried about hurting Li Ku and revoked his ability. But even so, all the candidates present also understood that this was probably not something they could do. Menchi, Saditz, who was hiding in the treetops in the distance, was also stunned. As an examiner, Menchi is probably the strongest among the 3, but I didn't expect. Menchi actually lost. The fruit is getting more and more perfect. Why did I have an illusion just now? Hisoka frowned slightly, staring at Li Ku's direction, showing greed and excitement. Just now, he felt another nun. When he wanted to sense it again, it disappeared. It was the nun from Li Ku. Although he now has the entry, and even the relevant ability has been born in his body, because the aura nodes have not been opened. Just like a sports car that has not been unpacked, the outside world naturally can't hear the roar of the engine. Ha ha ha. It seems that this trip is not in vain. All candidates will be eliminated. This is indeed a bit too harsh. but it is indeed very rare for a candidate to defeat the examiner. Suddenly, a magnificent horn sounded from high in the sky. The voice belonged to an elderly man who was calm and seemed to be somewhat interested. Everyone immediately looked in the direction of the voice and saw a huge airship slowly flying in the blue sky. On this airship, there was the logo of the Hunter Association. It's the logo of the Hunter Association. Could it be the review committee? A knowledgeable candidate exclaimed. Just when everyone wanted to see the airship clearly, a figure suddenly jumped down from the airship. This was hundreds of meters high. The other party's action instantly shocked the candidates below. Even Liku couldn't help but squint slightly. His pupils trembled a little. That looked like excitement. Boom in the extremely shocked eyes of everyone. Only a figure was seen jumping down from the huge airship in the sky. It fell heavily to the ground at a height of hundreds of meters. After the smoke and dust dispersed, everyone could see the guy on the ground clearly. He was wearing a white training suit with white hair and beard tied into a ponytail, big earlobes, and only the tip of his beard was a little black. He was wearing wooden clogs. There were no wounds on his body. Because he had perfect control over his strength, there were no signs of explosion on the ground. Who was that old man? He fell from a height of more than 300 meters, and he was fine. Is he still human? He looks like he is at least 60 years old. How can he be so strong? Is he also a member of the Hunter Association? Nonsense. The sudden appearance of the old man shocked the candidates present, and they couldn't help but discuss it. President. Min-Chi, who had a knife against her neck, looked ugly. She didn't expect that she would meet the president in this state. He is the chairman of the Supreme Review Committee and the highest person in charge of the Hunter experiment, President Netero. Min-Chi explained with a pale face. It's actually the Hunter Association president who is known as the strongest in the human race. So strong. This is going to be tough for Mr. Cook. The candidates present stepped back and made way. They formed a circle. Brother, although Min-Chi held back, you are indeed very strong to have defeated Examiner Min-Chi. Please put down the knife. Netero walked slowly in front of Liku. He stretched out his hand and gently pinched the blade. The action looked very slow, but Liku, who was present at the scene, felt it was very abrupt. It was like a visual fault. Netero's hand suddenly appeared on the blade. It was not slow. It was fast. Super fast. The opponent's hand was so fast that it exceeded the limit of dynamic visual capture, so it gave people the illusion of slowness. Liku let go of his hand tactfully, shrugged lightly, and said, I didn't mean to attack the examiner. I was just defending myself. I'm really sorry if I offended you. This guy, Min-Chi, was very depressed. She had just eaten a 9-turn large intestine. Ha ha ha. What a broad-minded guy. What's your name? Netero laughed and looked at Liku with admiration. Liku. Liku also looked at Netero with admiration. Name, Netero terms. Extreme martial arts, black. Master of telekinesis, red. Master of physical skills, red. Absolute will, red. Justice, gold. Lust, purple. Drinking, blue, etc. Chapter 23. Spider-Man, please. As expected of the strongest man of the human race, even though his condition has been declining with age. But each of these entries on his body is enough to make people drool. Especially, extreme martial arts, black. This is the first time that Liku has seen a black entry. Before obtaining this entry, it is impossible to know the effect of the entry. But as a time traveler, according to his own inference, this is most likely the important reason why Netero can break through the limits of human beings and continue to climb to the highest. If it can be obtained, it is definitely a divine outfit. Even if this entry is not obtained, if any of the entries on this guy Netero can be exploded, it will be a super profit for Liku. Of course, the latter ones are excluded. Haha. Although he is the person in charge, he is actually just a staff member, probably like the person who is responsible for resolving such problems when they occur. That Min-Chi. When you tested whether they were beggars who challenged the unknown, you determined that their attitudes were problematic, so you judged them unqualified. Netero glanced at Min-Chi's chest. What a perverted old man. That's not the case. It's because one candidate made food that defamed the cuisine and I accidentally ate it. So I got angry and made the review standards even stricter than originally planned. Minchi lowered his head and reflected on himself. So you know that you are unfair in the review? Netero asked. Yes, once it comes to cooking, I tend to lose my mind. This is the negligence of the examiner. I will resign from the position of examiner immediately, and please reconsider the experiment. Well, if we need to find another examiner to fill the position temporarily, it will be very troublesome. How about this? You continue to be the examiner, but you must participate in the next new experiment and do it yourself for them to see. What do you think of this? Netero said with a smile. His words immediately calmed the anger of most of the candidates present. Because everyone comes to participate in the professional hunter assessment in order to become a professional hunter. Those who can reach this stage almost never spend time on cooking, and almost all their energy is spent on tempering their battle memory. As the examiner of this stage, Minchi has to choose to eliminate people through cooking, which naturally makes the candidates present very unhappy. As powerful as Hisoka, Nailhead Man, Hanzo, etc. were all eliminated. It can be said that the professional hunter assessment system in this world is indeed a bit nonsense. But Netero has given a way out. That's right. Then the new assessment topic is crab racing. Minchi's words also stunned Liku. No, the fate line has changed. Shouldn't the topic of this stage be boiled eggs? How did it become crab racing? Oh my god. But it doesn't matter. Now that Netero is present. If Minchi sets the rules for the content of this assessment too high, resulting in no one passing the assessment, she herself can't get off the stage. And as long as someone can pass the assessment, Liku is sure that he must be the first. Oh, crabs. This is the first time I've heard of this exam topic. In that case, Liku and Minchi, let's make peace. Netero acted as a peacemaker. Sorry, Examiner Minchi. I just wanted to bring you a hometown dish to try, but it may not suit your taste. I'm very sorry. Liku saluted very politely. Minchi originally thought that the other party would be unwilling to make peace, but she didn't expect it to be so proactive, which made her blush. Isn't it just eating a 9-turn large intestine? Maybe this is really someone's hometown dish, but the taste is not suitable. Maybe I really missed the other party's kindness. I was impulsive. I should apologize. Examinee Liku, I hope you can perform at the level you should in the next exam. Minchi also apologized repeatedly. I'm sorry too. I shouldn't have hurt you just now, right? The giant Bahara rubbed his aching head and stood up. He had fainted and fallen asleep just now. It's okay. Are you hurt? Fortunately, Mr. Liku is really strong. He is definitely the strongest person I have ever seen except the president. Bahara smiled innocently. Haha, that's good. Let's prepare for the next exam. Everyone, it's easy to deal with. Netero laughed loudly. Tiger Clam Mountain. With the help of the big airship of the President Netero, a group of people arrived in a mighty manner. What appeared in front of everyone was a canyon that was like a natural moat. There was no end in sight, and the content of this assessment was also very simple. That is, to obtain the grape spider eggs, known as dream eggs, from this bottomless canyon, and then you also need to obtain the legs of a newly hatched small spider monster as ingredients. The two together can make a delicacy called crab. The difficulty has increased, Liku muttered in his heart, because according to the original plot line, you only need to get these spider eggs. But now, you also need to catch the little spider. The spider eggs are at the top of the canyon, and those newly hatched little spiders are below. The lower you go, the more likely you are to encounter the grape spider monster. It can be said to be quite dangerous. It seems this examiner Minchi is still a little sulky. However, she demonstrated it herself. Jump down. He easily obtained the white spider eggs and then went down apart and easily killed a weak little spider. Then he jumped back to the edge of the cliff with the help of the strong wind. Wow, so awesome. Is this the food we want? Just jump down like this. Minchi's brilliant performance convinced the candidates present. Everyone saw that the young girl was amazingly strong. Before she continued to explain the precautions, a figure had already rushed out. Liku. Behind him were Gon and his friends. Wow, Brother Ku. Great. Go. Gon and his friends were very excited. Pay attention to the wind direction. Everyone. Lika gave instructions in the air, and Gon and his friends naturally reacted sharply. But the other candidates who followed suit were too greedy. After getting the spider eggs and the little spider, they jumped directly into the abyss, and then there was nothing else. And Liku, who jumped down first, was not after the food. Of course, it was these densely packed entries. Name: Spider Egg Entry. Racial talent: extraordinary fertility. Blue. Further down, you can see the little spiders that have just hatched behind layers of spider webs. Name: Grape Spider Hatchling Entry. Extraordinary fertility. Blue. Silk spinning. Blue. Climbing green, but Liku had no intention of pulling the spider web and let himself continue to fall. Finally, below, a large area of densely packed purple-black creepy shadows were stirring. Looking around, it was densely packed with entries. Name: Grape Spider Entry. Extraordinary fertility. Blue. Climbing. Blue. Spider Silk. Blue. Demon Spider Perception. Blue. Venom. Green, etc. Lika couldn't help but raise the corner of his mouth. That. Boy, Spider-Man. Want one? Chapter 24, Extraordinary Fertility. Gold. Candidate number 406, Liku. President. On the cliff. Minchi exclaimed nervously. Although there were some misunderstandings between him and Liku, she couldn't bear to watch such a strong and polite genius die. The other party was too impulsive and rushed out without even listening to the precautions she had said. Moreover, some candidates' screams had been heard below. These guys didn't pay attention to the wind direction and thought they could be blown back by jumping out casually. As a result, they fell during the strong convective air cooling in the canyon. They fell to the ground and were killed on the spot. Many candidates had already jumped down in Liku's steps, and one by one they grabbed the white spider silk and hung in the air in the canyon. Oh, it's okay. Liku is in good condition now. Don't worry, Minchi. Netero made a gesture of listening carefully, and a smile appeared on his face after listening carefully for a second. Minchi was relieved after hearing this. And below, screams continued to sound. Those guys were eager to get high scores. After getting the white grape spider eggs and small spiders, they hurriedly wanted to fly up, but found that there was no strong...
No more novels? Take part in the voting. The most requested novels and those with the most likes will be chosen for publication on euroaudiobooks.com. There, I can upload as much as I want without the risk of receiving a strike. Our 18 novels and other content that exceed what is morally acceptable are only published on Patreon or the free novels page. Remember, the site is funded by donations on Ko-fi and Patreon memberships.